Chapter 304. Under the dazzling golden light, Xianxia is undoubtedly the center of attention. Everyone is looking up to her, including the manager. It was only after the golden light dimmed that the crowd came to their senses. But this time, they didn't make a ruckus because they were subconsciously afraid of disturbing Xianxia. The students of the Spalier World Academy took a good look at Xianxia, especially her looks. They memorized her in their minds. A special student is very important to them in the Spalier World Academy. They are still waiting to report back to the academy. As for those who aren't students, many of them are also taking a good look at Xianxia. Some of them with background have already ordered their subordinates to investigate Xianxia. A special student with potential will definitely grow into a super powerhouse in the future. Rank 7 is a given, rank 8 is not something they can only look up to. Rank 9 is also a possibility even if the chances are slim. If they don't try to rope in such a talent, they would be letting their ancestors down. Of course, they don't know that Xianxia isn't just a talent, she's a true powerhouse. Oh, it's glowing. It's glowing. Xianxia didn't realize at all that she had suddenly become the center of attention. Everyone else treated Jin Guang as a rare treasure, but Xianxia only treated him as a toy. She clapped her little hands and smiled happily. Wu Yan bitterly smiled as he rubbed Xianxia's ponytail. He looked at the manager with a smile on his face. It's quite amusing to see this guy who was as calm as a transcendent being acting like an idiot from start to finish. As for Xianxia's golden light, Wu Yan didn't care about it at all. Even if her powers are sealed, her foundation is still there. What's so surprising about a Tier 9 being chosen as a special student? This level of strength was enough to directly become a member of the Council of Silveria World Institute. The administrator finally recovered from his shock and quickly lowered his head. He spoke to Xianxia in a gentle voice. "Miss, the result of the test is that she is a special student. She will become a special student of the Spalier World Academy." Then she took out a white uniform with golden edges from somewhere. The style is unique and it's a bit feminine. At least from Wu Yan and Ko's point of view, it's not bad, it's not inferior to those pretty decorations. The administrator brought the uniform to Xianxia with both hands. His eyes were still a little dazed. It's no wonder the administrator reacted this way. He's never seen a golden light that represents a special student before in his life. Normally, new students who come to the Spalier World Academy for the first time will be tested as normal students. The better ones will be elite students, but that's still very rare. The special students of the Spalier World Academy started off weak and climbed up the ranks. They started off as elite students and the better ones were still normal students. They worked hard to become strong before they took the test again and became a special student. As for the less than 100 students with high potential, they were either descendants of the major clans or teachers of the academy. They were super geniuses that were dug out from the vast world of Silveria. They weren't people that a mere gatekeeper like him could come into contact with, let alone help them with the ritual test. That's why this is the first time he's seen the birth of a special student. Xianxia couldn't care less about the manager's thoughts. In the past, this kind of person would only be treated as a toy. Xianxia would only break them. Therefore, the clothes actually piqued Xianxia's interest. Xianxia touched the white uniform with golden edges and chuckled. She didn't care about the consequences, she grabbed it and hugged it. Then she looked at Wu Yan. "Big bro, it's so fun. That black table might not be fun, but I'll get something if I play with it. Big bro, let me play with it again." Xianxia stretched her hand towards the platform again. Wu Yan quickly grabbed her hand and smiled bitterly. "Xianxia, if it's not fun, then don't play with it." Xianxia wiggled her petite body and glanced at the platform. She snorted and turned her head away. Then she turned her attention back to the special trainee uniform. "Child." Wu Yan chuckled and shook his head. He looked around. Everyone is still shocked by the news of Xianxia becoming a special student. They've forgotten about Wu Yan and the others. Pursing his lips, Wu Yan pressed his hand on the strength groove while the others are still in shock. A familiar golden light once again rose from the ritual platform, causing those who were still in shock to tremble and become completely dumbfounded. Special student." The manager swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said these words with difficulty. His heart, which was not considered old to begin with, was already showing signs of insufficiency at this moment. It's rare to see a special student. The Spalier World Academy has over 10 million students, but there are only less than 1,000 of them. Today there are 2 special students in front of him. At this moment the manager started to wonder if he was dreaming. Another special student. The onlookers are in a daze. 90% of them have been to the Spalier World Academy many times, but this is the first time they felt like they made the right decision to come here. Of course, this includes the students who came out to pick up their friends and family. Wu Yan and the girls looked at each other and shook their heads. They found it funny, but at the same time, they looked down on the people of this world for not being receptive enough. Wu Yan, Hinajiku, and Mikoto have experienced this kind of scene many times. Becoming the center of attention, receiving the shocked and stunned gazes of the audience. Every time they would feel like these side characters can't do something different. And this kind of thinking without a doubt is very cold. The girls looked at the dumbfounded faces of the people around them, then they looked at each other. Other than Ikaros, everyone had a naughty smile on their faces, even Astria had the same expression on her face. They took a few steps forward and lined up in a line. Then one by one they took turns and reached out their hands to the platform. But there was no result. Mikoto's strength gauge golden light potential gauge golden light. Chuju strength gauge golden light potential gauge golden light. Hikaros strength gauge golden light potential gauge golden light. Shokuhu Misaki strength gauge golden light potential gauge golden light. Astria strength gauge golden light potential gauge golden light. Kinuhata Sai strength gauge blue light potential gauge golden light. Frenda strength gauge blue light potential gauge golden light. Takitsubu Riku strength gauge blue light potential gauge golden light. Including Wu Yan, who also got a golden light in both his strength and potential. Flandre-chan and Wu Yan, who also got a golden light in both their strength and potential gauges. Dumbfounded was no longer enough to describe the expressions on everyone's faces. If one had to use a word to describe their current expressions, then perhaps the word twisted would be more appropriate. What did they just see? They saw the birth of 10 special students. That golden light that was enough to break through the sky had completely smashed their brains. Regardless of whether they were originally stupid or astute, they were completely dumbfounded. Wu Yan, Chuju, Mikoto, Ikaros, Flandre-chan, Shokuhu Misaki, Astria, Kinuhata Sai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku. All 10 of them became special students. Today is destined to be an unforgettable day for them. Chapter 305. The status of the special students in Silveria World Institute and how they are judged is unknown to outsiders. Only the big families with strong backgrounds would know a thing or two about this. To put it bluntly, when you're still proud of your unrivaled strength, come to the Spalier World Academy. You'll be beaten black and blue here. It wasn't easy to judge his potential, so let's not talk about it first. However, the judgment of his strength couldn't be clearer. In the Spalier World Academy, there are less than 1,000 special students. Except for less than 100 who have potential, the rest are all at the 7th stage. 7th stage, there's no lack of 7th stage fighters in this world. Even though 7th stage fighters are rare, they're only considered rare when compared to the huge population of the Spalier world. For those large clans, as long as they were able to stand on the stage, which one of them did not have a tier 7 powerhouse. But if you think 7th stage is weak because of this, you're wrong. In the eyes of the strong, 7th stage might be weak, but it depends on what they're compared to. Don't forget, the students in the Spalier World Academy are all under 25 years old. 7th stage isn't scary, but reaching 7th stage before the age of 25 is scary. This can be seen from Fei Fei. Without a doubt, Fei Fei is a special student. At the same time, in the Spalier World Academy, in a villa with fake mountains, streams and green willows, Fei Fei is holding her night elf and looking at something carefully. Only Fei Fei knows that she's not looking at the blade. Fei Fei, Fei Fei. Following 2 delicate shouts, the door of the villa was knocked open by a figure. The figure didn't slow down at all as it rushed in Fei Fei's direction. That figure is Lulu. Fei Fei is stunned. Even though Lulu is sometimes impulsive, Fei Fei has never seen Lulu do something like this. Fei Fei quickly dodged to the side. Lulu fell to the ground and cried out in pain. Fei Fei's eyebrows twitched. She sighed and sheathed her night elf. She bitterly smiled. Lulu, what are you doing? Lulu rubbed her breasts. While rubbing her breasts, she laughed in pain. With Lulu's speed just now, if she had fallen to the ground, they would have been the ones suffering. Hearing Fei Fei's words, Lulu rubbed her little head, looking a little distressed. Fei Fei couldn't help but sigh. This child, could it be that she didn't remember why she was so anxious? Fei Fei was worried that Lulu might have hit her head instead of her breasts when Lulu's eyes lit up. She jumped up from the ground and gave Fei Fei a fright. Before Fei Fei could say anything, Lulu grabbed Fei Fei's hand and shouted excitedly. Fei Fei, Xian, Yan and the others are here. Hearing this, Fei Fei was stunned for a moment, then she smiled. Is that so? They're finally here. Fei Fei frowned. She looked at Lulu, who was in high spirits, and shook her head. Even if Wu Yan and the others are here, you don't have to be so anxious. Lulu was stunned, but the excitement in her eyes didn't diminish. Fei Fei, you don't know. Yan is famous in the Spalier World Academy. Famous? Fei Fei was stunned. Her eyes flashed with surprise. It's not because of anything else but the word famous. It's not easy to be famous in the Spalier World Academy. What's going on? Tell me. Lulu swallowed a mouthful of saliva with difficulty. Ever since she received the news, she had been jumping up and down and running non-stop. Now that she was here, she was so excited that she could not help but feel her mouth go dry, and she pounced on him. Even when she was explaining to Fei Fei, Lulu was still full of excitement. She described the test at the entrance of the Spalier World Academy as more exciting than a haunted house. Fei Fei was stunned. Fei Fei now knows that Lulu has the same talent. After Lulu finished, Fei Fei fell silent. 10 special students. Yeah. Lulu grabbed Fei Fei's hand and swung it back and forth. Fei Fei felt like her bones were about to fall apart. I really don't know how Yin managed to recruit so many powerful companions. I really want to meet them. Hearing this, Fei Fei shook her head with a smile and said, It seems that we really have to meet. Lulu immediately shouted excitedly when she heard Fei Fei's words. Hey, let's go now. Right away. Let's go. Fei Fei stared blankly at Lulu running away. She didn't know when Lulu became so impatient. She also didn't know when a magus could be so fast. Fei Fei couldn't help but smile bitterly. She tightened her grip on the night elf and frowned. Fei Fei sighed and muttered. This is going to be troublesome. Yes, troublesome. This is the reason why Fei Fei wanted to meet Wu Yan. Special students, and 10 of them at once. This will not only cause a stir in the Silveria World Institute, it also means that they will be targeted by the Silveria World Institute. Fei Fei, who is also a special student, knows this very well. If she wasn't from the Lori family, Fei Fei and Lulu wouldn't be able to live a peaceful life as students. Fei Fei knows how much the factions in the academy want to have a special student, not to mention there were 10 of them. I have to hurry. Fei Fei's eyes turned serious. She pushed open the door that was closed by Lulu and rushed towards Lulu's direction. At the same time, in the Spalier World Academy, there are a few places that aren't peaceful. The Spalier World Academy is the only academy in the Spalier world. It's also a joint venture between the 3 empires. The geniuses gathered from all over the world won't get along so well. Not to mention the competition between the top clans in the 3 empires, there are also some big and small clans that have grudges against each other. With so many factions gathered in one place, how can they get along peacefully? Among them, there were even some who were his sworn enemies. In addition, some of these people would be the successors of their respective forces in the future. In such an academy, there were so many geniuses, including those without forces and those with small forces. Wouldn't it be too stupid if they didn't rope them in? Therefore, the Spalier World Academy can be said to be a microcosm of the rivalry between the clans. They don't want the geniuses to fall into the hands of their enemies, or they want to pull them over to their side. The geniuses in the academy suddenly became a hot commodity. Among them, the most eye-catching ones are the special students who are at the top of the student body. Now that 10 special students have appeared, this force is enough to change the entire situation of the Spalier World Academy. Therefore, when the news of the 10 special students reached the ears of the big shots, these factions are in an uproar. At the same time, almost identical orders are passed down from one faction to another. They must pull these 10 special students to their side. If they can't pull them over, they must not let the enemy pull them over. When necessary, they are allowed to use special methods. Fei Fei had predicted that something like this would happen. That's why she felt that there was trouble. Chapter 306. In the Spalier World Academy, there is a so-called hierarchy system. The higher the level, the more privileges one has. This is especially true for the special students. And now Wu Yan and his group are enjoying the first privilege of a special student, a villa of their own. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was a villa. One had to know that such a place could even fit 100 people, let alone one. And a villa like this, a special student gets one per person. But this kind of privilege is like a bolt from the blue for Wu Yan. Because this meant that he couldn't live with the girls anymore. When this fact flashed through his mind, Wu Yan couldn't react in time. When he did, Wu Yan immediately turned to the person in charge of arranging their accommodations. That there's no need to go through so much trouble to arrange so many accommodations. A villa or whatever one is enough. There are 10 of us, we can definitely live in it. Chuju, Mikoto and the rest were embarrassed by Wu Yan's words. Even though they used to live together, but saying it so clearly in front of outsiders, isn't it indirectly telling them that they are related? Before Chuju and Mikoto could say anything, Shokuhu Misaki suddenly turned to Wu Yan and smiled. Era, I didn't say I want to live with you. Wu Yan's face stiffened. He forced a smile at the smiling Shokuhu Misaki and said helplessly, Queen-sama, what do you want now? Shokuhu Misaki ran her fingers through her hair and winked at Wu Yan. She said slyly, Mimio, this queen really needs to be taught a lesson. Wu Yan's mouth kept twitching. If there weren't outsiders here, Wu Yan would have pressed her down and beat her up. Shokuhu Misaki acted like she didn't see Wu Yan's expression. She turned to Kinuhata Sayai, Frenda and to Kitsubu Riku. You girls, do you want to come with me? Wu Yan's expression changed. If he wanted to beat Jisama up a while ago, now he wants to F***ck Jisama up. She actually dared to F***ck her own husband. Kinuhata Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku looked at each other. They didn't know what to do. Shokuhu Misaki saw this and smiled faintly. Could it be that you want to? Shokuhu Misaki looked at Wu Yan's direction and pouted. Life together? Kinuhata Sayai and Frenda shuddered. Shokuhu Misaki's words reminded them of the time when they lived with Wu Yan in Academy City. What kind of fate did they end up in? Recalling the day they were raped, the two women were alarmed. They were already F***ked before they were raped. Now that they were F***ked, if they lived together with him, wouldn't that be? Thus the two women came to a decision. They nodded furiously under Wu Yan's stunned gaze. They looked at Shokuhu Misaki with gratitude. After all, she was the one who saved them from the sea of fire. With such thoughts in mind, Kinuhata Sayai and Frenda have long forgotten who was the one behind that embarrassing threesome. Seeing that Kinuhata Sayai and Frenda agreed, Takitsubu Riku sneaked a glance at Wu Yan. Under the gazes of Kinuhata Sayai and Frenda, she could only nod helplessly. Shokuhu Misaki smiled triumphantly and turned to Astria. Hey Astria-chan, aren't you coming with us? Oi, Jizama, that's enough. Wu Yan finally couldn't hold it in anymore. His eyes were glowing dangerously. Shokuhu Misaki didn't doubt that if given the chance, Wu Yan would F***ck her again and again. This time, it was Astria's turn to be at a loss. She made a series of sounds like she didn't understand why the fire would burn her. Seeing this, Shokuhu Misaki decided to make the final push. Astria's eyes lit up and she nodded without hesitation. I have a lot of delicious food here. Wu Yan was stunned. He watched as Astria, Kinuhata Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku walked to Shokuhu Misaki's side. Wu Yan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I say, Jizama, what are you trying to do? Well, Wu Yan, don't worry, you'll find out soon enough. Shokuhu Misaki smiled mysteriously and poked Wu Yan's cheek. Oh right. Shokuhu Misaki suddenly reached out and took off the black bracelet on Wu Yan's wrist. It's the biocontainment device that stored the sisters. Shokuhu Misaki waved it at Wu Yan's face. I'm taking this too. Wu Yan was stunned. Before he could react, Mikoto jumped out and shouted. You woman, why are you taking the sisters away? Misaka-san, there's no need to rush. Shokuhu Misaki didn't even look at Mikoto as she put the biocontainment device on her wrist. She touched the black bracelet on her wrist and smiled. Since Misaka-san doesn't have any plans for them, just leave it to me. Do you think I'll harm them? Mikoto's face turned red. She stomped her feet and said in exasperation. Don't tell me you want the sisters to appear in this academy? That's 20,000 identical little sisters. Shokuhu Misaki ignored Mikoto's words and giggled. I said there's no need to rush. Shokuhu Misaki looked at Wu Yen, Hinajiku and Mikoto. She giggled and swung her long hair, showing the back of her head to everyone. I'll give you guys a big surprise. After that, Shokuhu Misaki led Kinuhata Sayai, Frenda, Takitsubu Riku, and Astria away under the guidance of the person in charge. Wu Yen, Chuju and Mikoto looked at each other. After a while Mikoto spoke up. That woman must be up to something again. Mikoto knows Shokuhu Misaki well. After all, she's been harmed by her in the past. Wu Yen sighed. He knew that Jusama's thoughts are unfathomable, but he still felt helpless. He could only observe a moment of silence for those who are going to be harmed by Jusama's. None. Chuju, on the other hand, was worried. Is it okay to let them leave just like that? What if something were to happen? You don't have to worry about that. Wu Yen patted his face as he watched Shokuhu Misaki and the others leave. It doesn't matter who gets the short end of the stick, Jusama won't get the short end of the stick. Mikoto harumphed. I hope she gets the short end of the stick. That woman really thinks she has everyone under her control. Wu Yen and Chuju laughed dryly. They could feel the deep resentment in Mikoto's words. They fell silent. Scratching his head, Wu Yen smiled at Chuju and Mikoto. Hey Mikoto, Chuju, don't tell me you're thinking of moving out to live on your own? Chuju and Mikoto blushed and glared at Wu Yen. They wanted to say something, but Wu Yen had already turned to Ikaros. Ikaros, don't tell me you're going to live on your own too? Ikaros flinched, shyness flashed in her eyes, but she still insisted. Ikaros, I'm going with Master. Wu Yen chuckled. Flandra-chan also raised her hand and she yelled. Me too. Flan wants to live with Oni-chan too. Chuju and Mikoto looked at each other and nodded helplessly. To be honest, they're a little reluctant to part with Wu Yen as well. Mikoto snorted and turned her head away. I just want to be with Ikaros and Flan, she said with a bit of embarrassment. Yes, Wu Yen giggled. Mikoto couldn't help but feel a bit annoyed and Hinajiku felt helpless again. Chapter 307. Entering the villa, the person in charge arranged for them. Wu Yen, Hinajiku, and Mikoto exchanged glances before sighing helplessly. Chuju said softly. Why do I feel like it's getting a little cold? Indeed, the original team of 10 is now down to 5 people. Wu Yen, Hinajiku, Mikoto, Ikaros, and Flandra-chan are the only ones left. The others, who are already used to this kind of situation, are feeling a little uncomfortable. It's all that damn woman's fault. Mikoto didn't hesitate to push all the blame onto Jusama. It's fine if you're up to no good, but you actually dragged everyone away. Even took my sisters away. How despicable. Hearing Mikoto's complaints, Wu Yen and Hinajiku rubbed their temples. They aren't worried about Jusama getting the short end of the stick, but Jusama's mysterious actions are still giving them a headache. Next time they'll have to ask Jusama what she's up to. After making up his mind, Wu Yen let go of the worries in his heart and started sizing up this huge villa. Don't say this villa is pretty big, at least it's much bigger than his house in Academy City. Flandra-chan giggled and jumped down from Wu Yan's lap. She started jumping around the mansion like a happy little bird, running around the living room. Even though this place is a lot smaller than Scarlet Devil Mansion, Flandra-chan is still running around tirelessly, rummaging through the rooms one by one like she's on an adventure. Wu Yen, Chuju, and Mikoto, who were feeling a little cold at first, smiled when they saw Flandra-chan like this. The strange feeling in their heart also disappeared. Gotta admit, Flandra-chan has a special kind of charm. Could it be that she's the apple of Scarlet Devil Mansion's eye? Wu Yen quickly shouted when he saw Flandra-chan running deeper into the mansion. Flandra-chan, don't run too fast, be careful not to fall. Got it. Oni-chan. Flandra-chan's figure disappeared from everyone's sight. She ran into the villa and went on her so-called adventure. Shaking his head helplessly, Wu Yen was about to follow her when Ikaros suddenly tugged on Wu Yan's clothes and handed a booklet to him. Master, what's this? Wu Yen asked as he took the booklet from Ikaros. Ikaros pointed at a table nearby. I found it on that table. What is it? Chuju and Mikoto also gathered around Wu Yan. The three of them looked at the booklet in Wu Yan's hand. A few big words printed on the cover answered the questions in Wu Yan and everyone's mind. Entrance Guide. Spalier World Academy. Even though it has the word academy in it, there are no classrooms or anything like that for students to gather and study together. In the academy, students have their own free time. If they want to do sex, they can do it. If they want to play, if they want to play, if they want to play, if they want to stay in their rooms and sleep, no one will pay attention to them. Basically, Spalier World Academy only has a few restrictions. First, private fights are not allowed in the academy. If there's something that needs to be settled by force, then it can only be settled in the arena. Second, death is not allowed in the academy. If there's a murderer, the law enforcement team has the right to deal with him on the spot. If there's something that makes both sides unable to tolerate each other's existence, then they can only submit an application for a duel to the death. If the application is approved, then the duel will be allowed. Third, students above the age of 25 are not allowed in the academy. Once a student is over 25, they must take a graduation test. If they pass, they can graduate. If they don't, they will be expelled. These three rules are basically the school rules of Silveria World Institute. As long as the students of Spalier World Academy follow these three rules, they can do whatever they want in the academy. No one will pay attention to them. Of course, Spalier World Academy is still an academy. There are many powerful teachers in the academy, but if you want these teachers to teach you, you have to pay enough credits. In Spalier World Academy, there are auctions, shops, trading areas and other facilities for the students to use. Here there are resources from all over the Spalier world. Whether it's potions that can increase one's do chi or mana, treasures of heaven and earth, or armaments that can directly increase one's strength, battle skills and magic, they can all be found here. As long as you have credits. It's worth mentioning that in Spalier World Academy, the currency is not gold but credits. It can be said that as long as you have credits in this academy that has the support of 3 empires and resources from all over the world, there's basically nothing you can't find. Of course, if you want a legendary armament, then I'm sorry, those old farts in the council all want it. If you have one, they will definitely give you a shocking amount of credits to exchange for it. Well, that's basically the case. If you want a legendary armament, then I'm sorry, those old farts in the council all want it. However, it doesn't mean that there won't be any gold armaments. In other words, other than the things that even 9th stage powerhouses coveted, there was everything here. This was the correct way to put it. However, if you wanted to obtain them, it was still the same as before. As long as you had the credits. Then how do you get the most important credits? There are many ways. You can use armaments, battle skills, magic, treasures of heaven and earth to exchange for them. As long as you have the resources, those shops and auctions in Spalier World Academy will give you credits. If you don't have these things, then it's fine. As long as you have the strength, you can get credits all the same. The arena. Rather than the arena, it's better to call it the arena tower. Because its body is a tower. The arena tower has a total of 9 floors. Each floor is made up of countless arenas. Here you can settle your personal grudges and also use it as a source of credits. In the Tower of Tournament, you can gamble your points. You can challenge others to a duel or place bets on the duels. These are all ways to earn points. You can even challenge teachers to a duel. Teachers also need points. They have points in their hands. As long as you can win, you can win. Not only that, every floor of the arena tower has a floor master arranged by the academy. As long as you can defeat the floor master, you can get a large amount of credits and move up to the next floor. As long as you can defeat all the floor masters on the 9th floor and conquer the arena tower, the credits you will get will be enough to last you for the rest of your life. Of course, no one has been able to do it yet. Because as the floors increase, the strength of the floor masters will also increase. Currently, the strongest students are on the 6th floor. One can only imagine how strong the floor masters on the upper floors of the arena tower are. Other than the arena tower, there is another very important existence in Spalier World Academy. The ranking. To put it bluntly, the ranking is a list. However, it's not an ordinary list. There are only 100 spots on this list. Those who can get on it are the strongest 100 students in Spalier World Academy. Out of 10 million students, only 100 of them were able to make it to the top. From this, one could easily imagine how valuable the ranking was. It was even more valuable than the slots for the special students. As long as one was ranked, one would be able to obtain credits every month. The higher one's ranking was, the more credits one would be able to obtain. Chapter 308. When Wu Yan, Chuju and Mikoto finished reading the guidebook, there was a deafening sound that no one else could hear except for Wu Yan and the others. Beep. Detected a special item issuing a sudden mission. Sudden mission. Conquer the Tower of Tournament. Mission. Challenge the Spalier World Academy's Tower of Tournament and defeat each floor's leader. Mission rewards. Floor 1 Equipment and Item Points 10,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points 5,000. Floor 2 Equipment and Item Points 20,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points 10,000. Floor 3 Equipment and Item Points 30,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points 15,000. Floor 4 Equipment and Item Points 40,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points 20,000. Floor 5 Equipment and Item Points 100,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points 25,000. Floor 6 Equipment and Item Points 200,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points 30,000. Floor 7 Equipment and Item Points 300,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points 35,000. Floor 8 Equipment and Item Points 500,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points 40,000. Floor 9 Equipment and Item Points 1,000,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points 50,000. Note: this mission is only valid for the user. Sudden mission. Fight for the ranking. Mission. Challenge the people on the Spalier World Academy's ranking and fight for the ranking. Mission rewards. Top 100 Equipment and Item Points 10,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points 5,000. Top 90 to 20,000 Equipment Points and Item Points 10,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points. Top 80 to 30,000 Equipment Points and Item Points 15,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points. Top 70 to 40,000 Equipment Points and Item Points 20,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points. Top 60 Equipment Points, Item Points, Ability Points, Summoning Points 25,000. Top 50 Equipment Points, Item Points, Ability Points, Summoning Points 30,000. Top 40 Equipment and Item Points 70,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points 35,000. Top 30 Equipment Points, Item Points, Ability Points, Summoning Points 40,000. Top 20 Equipment Points, Item Points, Ability Points, Summoning Points 45,000. Top 10 Equipment Points, Item Points, Ability Points, Summoning Points 50,000. Third place. Equipment Points, Item Points, Ability Points, Summoning Points 60,000. Second place. Equipment Points, Item Points, Ability Points, Summoning Points 70,000. First place. Equipment Points, Item Points, Ability Points, Summoning Points 80,000. Note: this mission is only valid for the user. 2 missions. However, the rewards for these 2 missions were ridiculously generous. This sudden mission announcement went on for a full 5 minutes. Wu Yan listened to the system announcement for 5 minutes. When the system announcement faded away, Wu Yan looked at the mission on the system projection in front of him and couldn't come back to his senses for a long time. Other things aside, let's talk about the mission rewards first. The rewards for these 2 missions were only points. However, those points almost made Wu Yan think that his eyes were playing tricks on him. Conquer the Tower of Tournament. If this mission was completed, Wu Yan would receive 2,000,000 Equipment Points and Item Points, 230,000 Ability Points and Summoning Points. Fight for a ranking. If this mission was completed, he would receive 155,000,000 Equipment Points and Item Points, 440,000 Ability Points and Summoning Points. If he could complete both of the missions. Thinking of this, Wu Yan smiled bitterly. There were so many students in the entire academy, and in the end, they only managed to conquer the 6th floor of the Tower of Tournament. As for the rest, from the huge amount of points rewards, it was easy to see how difficult it was to pass. As for the ranking, Wu Yan planned to collect as many points as he could. However, that this mission is only valid for the user label made Wu Yan's heart ache a little. Looking at the mission on the projection, Wu Yan's face was a mixture of joy and worry, red and black. His expression changed so much that Chuju and Mikoto looked at each other. Noticing the 2 girls' expressions, Wu Yan was stunned. He asked in surprise, "You heard the system announcement too?" Hearing this, Hinajuku and Mikoto nodded, making him speechless. He doesn't know what's going on with the system. The proper quests are given to the group and the improper quests are given to him. Don't tell me the system thinks for me or something. The two girls looked at each other and then looked at Wu Yan helplessly. Yan, it seems like we can't help you this time. Wu Yan was almost in tears. It seems like he can only rely on himself this time. At this moment, an excited shout came from the villa's main entrance. Wu Yan, Mikoto and Hinajiku, who were in the living room, jumped in fright. They turned their heads to look and were stunned by what they saw. Ooh. Maybe it was because the main door wasn't closed, or maybe it was because Lulu didn't care if there was a door or not. Anyway, when Wu Yan and the rest saw Lulu, she had already rushed into the main hall. Wu Yan, Chuju and Mikoto were stunned. They looked at Lulu, who suddenly rushed in. They couldn't react. Is there a need to be so excited? When they saw Lulu's clothes, they were stunned again. There was no other reason but because Lulu was wearing a white student uniform with golden edges. A special student. Lulu is also a special student. After regaining his senses, Wu Yan quickly opened the system and looked at Lulu's body. Mei Lilu? Lowly, level 44. Level 44, the same level as the last time they met. This is to be expected. After all, Wu Yan and the rest spent a few months in the magic forbidden realm. Only a little more than a day has passed here. In addition, Wu Yan and the rest have only been in the Spalier World Academy for a few days. Of course, a few days won't be enough to increase their strength by much. What really surprised Wu Yan and the rest is that with Lulu's level, she shouldn't be a special student. After all, Kinuhata Sayai, Frenda and Takitsubu Riku are already tier 6, but they only got blue light while Lulu is only tier 5. Then there's only one explanation as to why Lulu is a special student. Lulu became a special student by relying on her potential. She's one of the less than 100 special students with potential. Seeing Lulu rushing in, Wu Yan couldn't help but sigh. As expected of the precious daughter of the Lori family, the pride of the heavens. One must know that Flandra-chan became a special student because she's already a tier 9 fighter. As for Kinuhata Sayai, Frenda and Takitsubu Riku, it's because they became his summons. After becoming his summons, their potential is limitless. After all, as long as there's a fight, there's experience to be gained and their strength will increase. Potential and whatnot can't be used to measure a summon's potential. Lulu, on the other hand, relied on her own potential. At this moment, Wu Yan truly understood how much of a genius this half-natural girl is. This thought only flashed through his mind for a split second before Lulu arrived in front of him. Seeing this, Wu Yan quickly dodged to the side. And so, Lulu fell to the ground again. With a cry of surprise, Lulu fell straight to the ground in a straight line. After a puss sound, a painful howl resounded through the air. Wu Yan, Chuju, Mikoto and even Feifei, who just entered the room, are all looking at Lulu, who's crying out so painful on the ground. Their hearts are in a dilemma. Should we help her up? Chapter 309. Ouch. Lulu slowly got up from the ground. She clutched her chest with one hand and took 2 deep breaths. It's as if she's afraid she'll flatten them if she falls. Wu Yan's already awkward expression turned even more awkward. Feifei, on the other hand, felt awkward. She even had the urge to just leave without a care in the world. After all, this is just too shameful. Wu Yan's mouth twitched. In the end, he dismissed the idea of helping Lulu up. He turned his head to the other side to cover it up. This time Wu Yan felt awkward again. Chuju and Mikoto stared at Lulu's body. To be more precise, they were staring at Lulu's breasts. When they saw Lulu groaning in pain and rubbing her breasts, envy, jealousy and hatred flashed across their eyes. It's as if they're hoping that if they fall on the ground, they'll have the ability to fall on the same spot. Wu Yan covered his eyes with his hand. He couldn't bear to watch anymore. On the other hand, Feifei did the same as Wu Yan. Their eyes met and they both smiled awkwardly. Feifei. Lori, level 69. Wu Yan was shocked when he saw the information in his system. He asked Feifei in surprise. Feifei, you leveled up? Leveled up. Feifei looked at Wu Yan in confusion. She then looked at herself in confusion. What leveled up? Wu Yan realized what he just said and he quickly waved his hand. No, I mean Feifei, your strength. Feifei smiled and raised the night elf in her hand. You can tell. Wu Yan nodded. When Wu Yan nodded, Feifei smiled helplessly. After fighting with you last time, I gained some enlightenment and my strength increased a little. Originally, I wanted to hide it from you. Wu Yan scratched his head in embarrassment. If it wasn't for the system, he wouldn't have noticed Feifei's change. But Feifei looked at Wu Yan and stared at his wine-red eyes. Looks like you've changed a lot too. Wu Yan smiled awkwardly. He had no choice but to evade her gaze. After all, Wu Yan has never heard of the existence of vampires in the Spalier world. If he told Feifei that he became a vampire and that's why his eyes turned red, Feifei, she'd be confused. Hey, don't ignore me. Lulu screamed and got up from the ground. She said discontentedly, I fell down and you guys are still chatting so happily. You're so annoying. Wu Yan and Feifei looked at each other helplessly and shrugged. This made Lulu even more dissatisfied. She turned around and ran towards Mikoto and Chuju. Mikoto. Chuju. Long time no see. Long time no see, Chuju and Mikoto said helplessly. They seemed to be exasperated by Lulu's behavior. Lulu, on the other hand, didn't seem to be aware of it. Her little head was looking around. Didn't you say there were 10 special students here? Why don't I see them? Hearing Lulu's words, Feifei remembered the reason she came here. Her face turned serious and she looked at Wu Yan. Yan, there's something, Before Feifei could finish, Lulu's scream interrupted Feifei's words. Feifei's serious face fell and a trace of anger crept up between her brows. It's telling everyone that Feifei is angry. However, when Feifei looked at Lulu, the anger on her brows disappeared. Instead, it was replaced by the same look of amazement on Lulu's face. The reason is Flandre-chan, who just ran out of the mansion. Lulu's eyes turned into stars. She looked at Flandre-chan with love in her eyes. After a while, Lulu screamed again in the silent living room. So cute. Following that, Lulu ran up to Flandre-chan with lightning speed and pulled her into her arms. She rubbed her head against Flandre-chan's scalp. Flandre-chan's limbs flailed around as she screamed in pain. Wu Yan couldn't help but cover his head with his hands. What kind of level did he have to be to make an undying vampire make such a sound? Lulu let go of Flandre-chan. Hinajuku and Mikoto quickly came to Lulu's side and rescued the frightened Flandre-chan from her great bosom. If they were a step late, Flandre-chan would have already passed away. Don't be so stingy, let me hug you, it's not like anything will happen to you. Lulu looked at Flandre-chan with a burning gaze. Flandre-chan's face turned pale. Flandre-chan pounced on Wu Yan and buried her head in Wu Yan's chest. Big brother, she's so scary. Wu Yan laughed awkwardly. She can scare Flandre-chan to this extent and she still says she won't do anything. Lulu, so you're the hidden big boss here. Helplessly shaking his head, Wu Yan looked at Feifei. He felt even more helpless when he saw her. I say, Feifei, do you want a hug as well? Feifei froze for a moment before quickly retracting her gaze from Flandre-chan and turning her head away in embarrassment. Lulu, Hinajuku and Mikoto couldn't help but snicker in amusement. Feifei chuckled awkwardly before turning to Wu Yan. Yan, there's something. Perhaps today is destined to be Feifei's day of suffering. Feifei was interrupted again, but this time it wasn't Lulu who interrupted Feifei. It was Ikaros, who stood half a meter behind Wu Yan. Her indigo pupils turned crimson for a split second, then returned to normal after a split second. However, the flowing stream of data remained in Ikaros's pupils. Master. Ikaros lifted her emotionless face and looked at Wu Yan. Her voice was as soft as ever. There's an enemy. Enemy? Wu Yan, Chuju and Mikoto couldn't help but blurt out. They didn't understand what was going on. Feifei, on the other hand, had a dark look on her face. She said helplessly. Looks like we won't make it in time. Wu Yan frowned at Feifei's words and turned to Feifei. Sister Feifei, by saying that, could it be that you know who this so-called enemy is? Feifei nodded but shook her head after some thought. Wu Yan, Chuju and Mikoto were all confused. So does this mean you know or not? Chuju was speechless. Feifei, could it be? Lulu grabbed Feifei's hand, her face turned worried. Lulu, who's always been dumb, seems to have figured out who the enemy is. Wu Yan's frown deepened as he looked at Feifei and Lulu. What's going on? Feifei pondered for a moment. To be honest, I don't know who it is either, but it's a fact that you guys are in trouble. Wu Yan lowered his head and sighed. He shrugged. Even though I knew the Spalier World Academy wouldn't be peaceful, I didn't expect it to come so soon. It's only been half an hour since we chose the villa, right? Fei Fei smiled bitterly. Half an hour is already considered late. You guys still don't know what kind of situation Spalier World Academy is in. Otherwise you wouldn't be so surprised. Fei Fei looked at Wu Yan and said seriously. What do you plan to do? Wu Yan smiled faintly at Fei Fei's words. Since it's someone Ikaros deemed as an enemy, it's definitely not friendly. Let's just kill it. Chapter 310. Walking out of the villa, there's a green avenue. On both sides of the avenue are the residences of the new special students. Compared to Wu Yan's villa, their residences are a bit more simple and crude. It seems like the person who arranged this villa knows that there's more than one special student living here. There's not a single shadow on the road. They probably haven't arrived yet since Ikaros's detection range is quite large. Wu Yan, Chuju, Mikoto and Fei Fei aren't in a hurry. Since the other party hasn't arrived yet, they'll just have to wait. About 4 to 5 minutes later, Wu Yan's group raised their heads and looked at the end of the road. There's a large group of people squeezing together. The sound of footsteps can be heard. They're walking towards them in a hurry. It's like they're being chased by someone. In front of them, the leader of the group seems to have noticed Wu Yan's group. He quickly waved his hand to stop the large group of people behind him. The leader of the group is a young man around 25 years old. He's wearing a white student uniform with gold edges, showing that he's a special student. Behind him, there are 8 other special students in the same uniform and a large number of elite students in white with blue edges. The leader of the group raised his head, and when he saw Fei Fei, his eyes flashed with surprise. He seems to recognize Fei Fei. When he saw Chuju, Mikoto, Ikaros and Flandrachan, his eyes flashed with shock, followed by a dirty look. Wu Yan, Chuju, Mikoto and Fei Fei saw that dirty look. Wu Yan narrowed his eyes while Chuju and Mikoto furrowed their brows. Seems like their impression of this group of people is extremely bad. Fei Fei was stunned when she saw the young man in the lead. Then she frowned. Bingmian, it's you? The young man called Bingmian moved his eyes away from the girls and looked at Fei Fei. His eyes flickered as he sneered. I didn't expect the Lori family to be so fast. Fei Fei's furrowed brows relaxed after hearing that. She glanced at Bingmian and turned her head away. It's obvious that she doesn't care about this guy. Bingmian's eyes flashed with ruthlessness when he saw Fei Fei's reaction. It disappeared quickly, but Wu Yan still caught it. Bingmian? Saito, level 64 tier 7? Wu Yan scanned the group of special students behind Bingmian. Without exception, all 8 of them are tier 7. Bing, Mikoto, Ikaros and Flandrachan glanced at Hinajiku, Mikoto, Ikaros and Flandrachan before looking at Wu Yan. Bing Mikoto frowned as he became even more suspicious. Are they really special students? Why can't I sense a trace of Dochi or mana? Could it be that they're all special students with potential? Bing Mian immediately denied this thought. According to the information he received, other than that little girl, the rest of them should be special students. Then they must have cultivated a special technique to hide their Dochi or mana. That should be it. Looks like they're quite rich. But I wonder if they have any background. Soon Bing Mian frowned again. Didn't they say that there were 10 special students? Why are there only 5 of them? Wu Yan, who had a smile on his face, finally opened his mouth to speak. However, Bing Mian wasn't too pleased with Wu Yan's response. Wu Yan ignored the crowd that would surround and beat him to a pulp. He looked at Fei Fei and he said, Fei Fei, do you know him? Fei Fei hesitated for a moment when she heard that, and then she nodded reluctantly. It was obvious how much Fei Fei disliked this fellow called Bing Mian from this. He's the second young master of Saito family, the second young master of Ailu Empire's second family. His name is... Second family? Wu Yan interrupted Fei Fei. To be honest, the other party's name isn't something that can be hidden from the system's perception. Even without the system's perception, Wu Yan doesn't really want to know. He only cares about the other party's background. Fei Fei bitterly smiled and shook her head. Yeah, the second family. To put it simply, they're our Lori family's competitor. Many people have been eyeing the title of first family for a long time. Of course, the second family is the one who's eyeing it the most. Fei Fei paused for a moment before continuing in a troubled tone. Looks like we won't be able to resolve this peacefully. Fei Fei looked at Wu Yan with an apologetic look. Wu Yan smiled helplessly. I say Fei Fei, if you think you're dragging us down, there's no need for that. Anyways. Wu Yan shook his head slightly as he looked at the ice surface in front of him. Even if they're going to resolve this peacefully, I don't think so. Wu Yan saw how Bing Mian looked at Chuju, Mikoto, Ikaros and Flandre-chan. That disgusting look is enough to make him hate Bing Mian. If Fei Fei, Chuju and Mikoto are disgusted with Bing Mian, then Lulu's disgust towards Bing Mian is on the surface. Hey you annoying bastard, what are you doing here? Bing Mian smiled, ignoring the disgust in Lulu's voice. Do I need to tell you why I'm here? Of course it's these people. Bing Mian looked at Wu Yan and smiled. Hello, I'm the second son of the Saito family. I'm here to invite you all to my Sea of Icicles. Are you interested? Wu Yan looked at Fei Fei and Fei Fei immediately understood. There are many factions in the Spalier World Academy. They're all formed by capable students. Some of them are formed by large families. Sea of Icicles is a faction formed by the Saito family in the Spalier World Academy. This time Wu Yan finally understood why people would come knocking on his door. Where there's power, there's bound to be conflict. Manpower, that's one of the most important factors. As if he didn't see Wu Yan and Fei Fei whispering, Bing Mian looked at Lulu and Fei Fei and said, however, it seems like Deadly Forest is a step ahead of us. Deadly Forest? Is that the Lori family's faction in the Spalier World Academy? Fei Fei's face darkened and she looked at Bing Mian. Bing Mian, don't think of us as the same as you. Deadly Forest has never forced anyone. Plus they're all my friends. Friends. Bing Mian was stunned when he heard Fei Fei's words. He looked at Fei Fei's darkened face and his heart was in turmoil. Only those who had dealings with the Lori family, Deadly Forest and Fei Fei would know how strange it was for Fei Fei to call them friends. Ever since Fei Fei appeared in the Spalier World Academy, Fei Fei had never called anyone her friends. Could it be that these people have a background that even that woman was afraid of? Bing Mian couldn't think of anything else other than that. He smiled. After all, he had never heard of any faction in the Spalier world that the Lori family was afraid of, not even the royal family. Bing Mian smiled and said, does that mean these people didn't join Deadly Forest? Fei Fei clenched her teeth. She didn't know what to say. If she said no, she was afraid that Wu Yan and the others would be in trouble. If she said no, Fei Fei was in a dilemma. At this moment, a voice followed by a large number of footsteps sounded. Bing Mian, don't think that just because Lethal Forest isn't here, we heard everything you said. Chapter 311. Bing Mian's face sank. Fei Fei and Lulu sighed in relief and Wu Yan smiled. Wu Yan is very familiar with this voice. It had been a long time since they last met. Toros, the one who had picked a fight with Kiran because of Lulu, was now wearing the uniform of an elite student. His group was no less than the number of students from Sea of Icicles. Behind him were many elite students and 10 special students. Wu Yan smiled again, but this time it's a mocking smile. After all, Toth is only an elite student, yet he's leading 10 special students. It's obvious that he's just a fox using the tiger's might to intimidate others. Reality confirmed Wu Yan's thoughts. When the 10 special students saw Fei Fei and Lulu, they immediately abandoned Toth and stood behind Fei Fei and Lulu like loyal guards. Fei Fei nodded at them. It seems like the true leader of Deadly Forest is Fei Fei. It's you. Toth's face darkened when he saw Wu Yan. His eyes flashed with deep resentment. Toth won't forget Wu Yan's face even if he dies. When he saw Lulu and Fei Fei standing close to Wu Yan, Toth's gloomy face became even gloomier. He clenched his fists tightly, wishing he could kill Wu Yan. Unfortunately, the moment he thought of that, the scene of Wu Yan and Fei Fei's battle surfaced in his mind. It was like a bucket of cold water that extinguished his killing intent. Only coldness remained. Bing Mian also heard Toth's "it's you." He's almost certain that the newcomers are Fei Fei's acquaintances. That means they won't join him. Wu Yan smiled and wanted to speak, but he suddenly stopped. Ikaros' eyes flashed as she looked at Wu Yan. She didn't say anything either. Oh. I didn't expect Deadly Forest and Sea of Icicles to be here already. Are we too late? A handsome young man around 25 years old wearing a special student uniform came to the other side of the group. He smiled at Fei Fei and Bing Mian before looking at Wu Yan. Busy. Leaden, level 66. Fei Fei didn't know how many times she frowned. She sighed and said helplessly. I didn't expect him to come as well. Ailu Empire's third house, Leaden family's leader, the leader of the Crimson Land. Busy. Leaden. Wu Yan rubbed his chin with interest. This is going to be fun. Ailu Empire's 3 great houses are all here. Busy. Leaden chuckled. When he saw Hinajiku, Mikoto and Ikaros he was surprised. Ripples flashed in his eyes and he nodded approvingly. I heard there are a lot of beautiful girls among the new special students. I didn't want to believe it at first, but after seeing you all, I have no choice but to believe it. They are indeed beautiful. Hinajiku and Mikoto flinched and they awkwardly nodded at Bishi. They waved their hands and turned their heads away. For the 2 girls this isn't something they can get used to. After all, they're quite shy. Wu Yan found it funny. Busy smiled. He didn't mind the 2 girls' reaction. He looked at Fei Fei and Bing Mian with his arms crossed. Since you 2 are here first, did anyone manage to invite the new students? If not, the Crimson Land will have to participate. This time it was Bing Mian who laughed. Busy, I think you're going to be disappointed. They are Fei Fei's acquaintances. We won't get a chance. Acquaintances? Baishi was stunned. He frowned and shrugged helplessly. Looks like we're late. We're late by quite a bit. Busy turned to Wu Yan. I don't know. How should I address them? Wu Yan didn't say anything. His wine-red eyes scanned Bishi's figure. He looked at the other side of Bishi. Over there, another group of people appeared under the lead of a certain person. No, that's not all. There are people leading groups of people from all directions. It's obvious that they are from the Spalier World Academy. It's a sea of people. It's a real sea of people. Other than Wu Yan and the others who are standing in front of the villa is surrounded by people. Standing in front of these people were the few special students. However, the originally few special students seem to have formed a human wall at this moment. In front of the human wall there are 4 men and 2 women. There are 6 young men and 2 young women leading the group. Looking at the 6 of them, Fei Fei had a serious expression on her face. She was already clenching the night elf in her hand tightly. They're all here. The smile on Bing Mian's face disappeared. He glanced at the leaders and his eyes flickered with uncertainty. Bizi's face darkened. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You're right. We're only missing the royals. Fei Fei nodded solemnly. In their eyes, other than the 3 great royal families and the 9 great clans, the other forces were dispensable. Now, other than the 3 great royal families, the members of the 9 great clans were all present. Fei Fei glanced at Wu Yan. When she saw Wu Yan's calm expression she was surprised. She didn't expect Wu Yan to be so calm in front of so many factions. Wu Yan looked calm on the surface but inside he was speechless. It's not because of the so-called factions, it's because of the number of people. Are these people really from the 9 factions? Isn't there a little too many of them? They're piling up to the point of death. At this time Flandrachon frowned. Although she has sealed her power she can still feel the faint malice in the air. This proves that there are some people with impure motives. She pulled Wu Yan's clothes and whispered. Big brother, these people are so annoying. Flandrachon wants to play with them until they break. Wu Yan chuckled and rubbed Flandrachon's head. Flandrachon, just watch quietly. These people don't deserve to play with you. Flandrachon unwillingly turned her head and calmed down. She seemed to have listened to Wu Yan's words. Chuju walked to Wu Yan and extended her hand to Flandrachon. Flandrachon, come to big sister. Big brother has something important to do. Flandrachon looked at Wu Yan and nodded obediently. This made Wu Yan surprised and happy. It seems like Flandrachon's spirit has stabilized a lot. She can even listen to other people's words. Fei Fei walked up to Wu Yan and hesitated for a moment. Yan, you know they're coming for you. What do you plan to do? Fei Fei stared at Wu Yan's face with her beautiful eyes. If you don't have a solution, why don't you join Deadly Forest? Wu Yan didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Fei Fei's serious tone. Of course he knew why Fei Fei would use such a tone. Fei Fei probably didn't want him to think that she's coming for their special student status. How silly. However, Fei Fei's words could be considered as a plan. However, joining the Deadly Forest might not be a peaceful thing. Turning his head to look at Hughes, who is glaring at him with venomous eyes, Wu Yan grinned. Sister Fei Fei, don't worry about me. If I don't join them, it's not like I will get ganged up on. Fei Fei smiled bitterly. I'm not afraid of that. I'm just afraid that they'll use underhanded methods or force you into the arena tower. When that happens, Wu Yan chuckled. When that happens, I don't mind them giving me credits. I don't mind giving them a few slaps. Chapter 3:12. In the Spalier World Academy, academic credits are like gold coins. Although money isn't everything, you can't do anything without money. Originally, Wu Yan was worried about how to get some academic credits. At the very least, it would be enough to support him so that when he sees something he wants, he won't run out of academic credits to exchange for it. But now, if what Fei Fei said is true, these people will force him to go to the arena tower. Then he can use this opportunity to gamble for academic credits and make a good profit. Under the system's perception, although the number of people here is terrifying, there are also a lot of 7th stage special students. But no matter what, they are only 7th stage. As long as they aren't 8th stage, Wu Yan isn't afraid of losing. As a true ancestor, even if he's only 7th stage, Wu Yan can stand firmly at the peak of 7th stage with the support of his unlimited vitality and recovery ability. So as long as they aren't 8th stage in front of him who can't die, these people are just giving him academic credits. Hearing Wu Yan's resolute words, Fei Fei was stunned for a moment. Then she couldn't help but smile. She almost forgot that Wu Yan is someone who almost lost his life. Even if Wu Yan can't, there's still... Fei Fei glanced at Mikoto and Ikaros. Her serious face relaxed. She just remembered that Mikoto and Ikaros are 8th stage powerhouses. 2 8th stage powerhouses. Even if the people in front of her are Wu Yan's enemies, so what? With Mikoto and Ikaros here, these 7th stage special students won't be able to touch them. Thinking until here, Fei Fei smiled and took a step back. Since you already have an idea, I won't force you. If you need help, just say the word. Although Deadly Forest isn't as powerful as so many factions, it's not a place that can be touched by just anyone. That's right. Lulu, who has been hiding behind Fei Fei, also spoke up. She patted her chest and said, Yan, don't worry. If they bully you, Fei Fei will definitely stand up for you. Yes. Wu Yan replied helplessly. For some reason he felt that Lulu has a mysterious power that can make a person who is full of energy lose all his strength. As expected, Lulu is the real boss. At this moment, Bing Mian glanced at the sea of people. He rolled his eyes slightly and suddenly laughed. Ice raised his hand and shouted at the leaders of the Baruba Empire and Fea Empire. Everyone, I'm sure you have the same goal as us. You want these newbies to join us, right? Bing Mian laughed loudly when he saw everyone's expression. But you're fated to come here in vain. Lethal Forest is one step ahead of us. The crowd burst into an uproar, especially the leaders of the 6 great clans. Their eyes darkened as they stared at Fei Fei and the people from Deadly Forest. The malice they showed was self-evident. Seeing this, Bishi looked at Bing Mian with disdain. But he had to admit that Bing Mian was really good at this move. This Bing Mian must think that the newcomers won't join his sea of icicles. That's why he said this. He's trying to divert the attention of the major factions towards Lethal Forest. If Lethal Forest doesn't give everyone an explanation, they won't have an easy time. Fei Fei's expression changed completely. She looked at Bing Mian with anger in her eyes. She bitterly laughed in her heart. Bing Mian is setting a trap for me. Either I give up on the newcomers or I become the target of all the major factions. But give up on Wu Yan? Is that even possible? Fei Fei was once again in a dilemma. Lulu was starting to get anxious. Tobias was happy. He walked towards Fei Fei and tried to persuade her. Senior Fei Fei, the situation isn't good for us. There's no need to sacrifice Lethal Forest for a few newcomers. Let's just let them have it. Fei Fei coldly glanced at Tauros. Tauros didn't dare to speak anymore. At this time, the people from the 6 major powers began to move. Seems like they were getting impatient from waiting. Bing Mian smiled as if his plan had succeeded. He smiled at Fei Fei and said, Miss Fei Fei, I think it's better for everyone to be friendly. You also know that there are a lot of new students this time. It's easy for things to change. So our best plan is to divide them up. This way we can have the best of both worlds, don't you think so? Fei Fei was angry. When she wanted to say something, Wu Yan laughed. His laughter was very happy. It was very strange. Although his voice was soft, it rang in everyone's ears. Everyone quieted down. Wu Yan slowly raised his hand and crossed it in front of his chest. He looked at Bing Mian and smiled. Divide? You said divide? How come I don't know that we've fallen to the point where we have to be divided? Bing Mian's eyes turned cold, but his smile didn't change. However, it became a little cold. At the same time he sneered. Newcomer, you don't know what's good for you. You might be strong outside the Spalier World Academy and no one could discipline you. However, this isn't the countryside where you used to be. If you want to be rude and unreasonable, you should know your place. Wu Yan glanced at Bing Mian indifferently. Then he walked towards Bing Mian. Everyone was stunned. Was this newcomer going to start a fight? Quite a number of people laughed. They looked at Wu Yan like he's an idiot. Outside of the arena tower, fights are considered private fights. The enforcers are always keeping an eye on the fights. Fei Fei and Lulu's hearts were in their mouths. Bing Mian sneered as he watched Wu Yan walk towards him. He wanted to see if this newcomer had the guts to start a fight. However, the sneer on Bing Mian's face quickly froze. Even the people who were watching the show looked at Wu Yan in shock. They were speechless. Without even looking at Bing Mian, Wu Yan brushed past Bing Mian's figure, leaving Bing Mian with a big back view as he looked at the huge crowd in front of him. Ignored. Blatant disregard. Bing Mian's body trembled. His eyes were filled with killing intent. As the second young master of Ailu Empire's second house, he, Bing Mian, had never been treated like this before. Wu Yan sighed. Then a clear and indifferent voice came out from his mouth and rang in everyone's ears. Everyone, I have no plans to join any faction at the moment. You don't have to worry about us breaking the balance between your factions. Wu Yan looked at the leaders of the 9 factions including Fei Fei, Bishi and Bing Mian. He continued. If you want us to join, it's not impossible as long as... Wu Yan's lips curled into a sinister smile. His next words stunned everyone. As long as you can defeat me, I will join your faction. His words were like a clap of thunder that exploded in the crowd. Everyone was in an uproar. The leaders of the various forces all laughed. In their opinion, this newcomer really couldn't find an opponent outside. Therefore he was a little arrogant and dared to say such words. However, this was exactly what they wanted. No matter what, a fight would not only dampen the other party's spirit, but they could also take him as their own. So why not? Yen. Fei Fei and Lulu shouted. Their eyes were filled with worry. Although they have seen Wu Yan's strength, Fei Fei and Lulu weren't too worried about Wu Yan's strength. After all, Wu Yan is also very strong. They know this. However, that would have to depend on the circumstances under which it would happen. It's not just one person, it's a group of people. Chapter 313. Fei Fei and Lulu's worries weren't superfluous. After all, many ants could bite an elephant to death. Although this sentence didn't exist in the alternate world, everyone understood the logic. Otherwise, why would so many people be afraid of being ganged up on? Wu Yan was indeed very strong, but no matter how strong Wu Yan was, unless he was at the 8th rank, the gap between him and those special students was boundless. In that case he could ignore it. However, if Wu Yan wasn't at the 8th rank, then even if he could deal with the front, the back would be stacked to death. Physical strength wasn't limitless. Battle aura and magic power weren't air. If he really defeated everyone, Wu Yan would probably be exhausted to death. It had to be said that Fei Fei and Lulu's thoughts were indeed correct. Unfortunately, the thoughts in their hearts weren't superfluous when used on Wu Yan. True ancestors didn't have limitless physical strength? Then who had limitless physical strength? Battle aura? Magic power? What was that? Could it be eaten? Sorry, I don't have that. I only have this body. However, it's enough to deal with those self-righteous forces. As if he had expected the reaction of everyone present, Wu Yan smiled triumphantly. Then he said with a smile, of course, everyone knows that I'm just a newcomer. There are some things that I need everyone to take care of. For example, credits and so on. When this sentence came out, everyone who was smiling just now was embarrassed. They couldn't help but curse in their hearts. This newcomer's appetite was really big. He actually had his eyes on credits. The leaders of the major forces looked as if they had swallowed a dead fly. Their faces turned incomparably ashen as they looked at the smiling Wu Yan. Suddenly, a thought popped up in their minds. Was it really beneficial to let this guy join? It wouldn't be a scourge coming in, right? At this moment, Wu Yan wasn't just arrogant in everyone's hearts. At the same time, he was also insensible. Did he really think that everyone was a machine to farm credits? Were credits that easy to obtain? All the leaders, including the special students, sneered in their hearts. At the same time, they made up their minds to teach this newcomer a lesson. Wu Yan took in everyone's expressions and pretended not to see them. He smiled softly. Then, tomorrow at this time I will be waiting for everyone in the arena tower. Wu Yan swept his gaze over the crowd before walking back to Hinajiku and Mikoto's side. The other factions exchanged glances with each other. Since they're already here, there's no need for them to stay any longer. They bade each other farewell and left the area. With the departure of the various forces and the departure of the crowd around the villa, the scene that was originally packed with people became much more deserted. Bishi pursed his lips and looked at Wu Yan as if he didn't care. Since you've decided to use a battle to determine the final winner, Crimson Land will be there tomorrow. Remember to be merciful then. Bishi smiled and waved at the members of Crimson Land behind him. He then led them out of the villa. Only the people from Deadly Forest and Sea of Dense Ice were left at the scene. The people from the two factions looked at each other with hostility in their eyes. Let's not talk about the fact that the two forces were rivals because of the competition between their respective masters. Just now, after being betrayed by Bing Mian in front of the other forces, the people from Deadly Forest didn't look too good. If they could, they even wanted to vent their anger on Bing Mian. The huge stream of people had already disappeared, and Lulu couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. She had to admit that the scene of the 9 major forces confronting each other was quite stressful for a cheerful person like her. Now that the stream of people had reduced, Lulu also relaxed. Walking out from behind Fei Fei, Lulu saw the ice surface on the opposite side at first glance. She suddenly frowned and pouted her mouth in dissatisfaction. She waved her hand as if she was swatting a fly and said in disgust, "Hey, they've already left. Why are you still here? Can't you just leave? I don't want to see you." Bing Mikoto looked at Lulu with a gloomy expression. When he saw Lulu's disgusted expression, his face twisted. He then looked at Wu Yan. Bing Mikoto smiled coldly. "Well then, I'd like to see what you're capable of tomorrow." Wu Yan glanced at Bing Mikoto and smiled. He then looked away, causing Bing Mikoto's face to twist even more. Bing Mikoto took a few deep breaths and smiled again. He walked up to Wu Yan and extended his hand. "When the time comes, please have mercy on me." Wu Yan frowned when he heard this. He looked at Bing Mikoto's hand and smiled. He also extended his hand and shook it. Wu Yan, who had been observing Bing Mikoto, saw a sinister glint in Bing Mikoto's eyes. At the same time, a stream of air so faint that even the air could cover it came out of Bing Mikoto's hand and entered Wu Yan's body. Sure enough, one who was unaccountably solicitous was hiding evil intentions. Wu Yan's expression didn't change, but he laughed coldly in his heart. Another person might not have been able to detect this tiny stream of air. However, it wasn't enough to prevent Wu Yan from detecting it. Bing Mikoto thought that he had succeeded. After all, this tiny stream of air was a technique that he had personally researched. It was a technique that was specially used to trick people. This stream of air was very difficult to detect. At least, none of the people that Bing Mikoto had used it on had noticed it. It would hide in the person's body and gradually grow stronger. It might not cause any harm in a short period of time, but after a long time, when the stream of air grew to the point of eruption, it would definitely kill the person. In the past, those who went against his will were killed by Bing Mian using this trick. After they died, Bing Mian didn't know how long it had been since he last met them. Even the law enforcement team didn't have any evidence that he did it. Therefore, Bing Mian used this trick time and time again. However, Bing Mikoto had used it on the wrong person this time. On the surface, Wu Yan's expression didn't change at all. However, electricity quickly appeared in his body. A few electric currents flowed out from the depths of his body and came to the side of the stream of air. Then they formed an electric net and surrounded the stream of air. Like a parasite, the stream of air could only jump around pathetically in the electric net. It was unable to escape. At this moment, Wu Yan urged the electric net. The electric net that carried the stream of air immediately came to Wu Yan's hand, which was holding Bing Makoto's hand. Wu Yan sneered in his heart. The electric net immediately dispersed and split into several electric currents. One of the electric currents hit the stream of air fiercely. The stream of air trembled and flowed out of Wu Yan's hand. It went through Wu Yan's hand and entered Bing Makoto's body. It returned to where it had come from. At this moment, Bing Makoto was still laughing at his successful sneak attack. He didn't realize that his sneak attack had returned to him. After letting go of Wu Yan's hand, Bing Makoto ignored Wu Yan. After a while, the stream of air in Wu Yan's body will explode. He just needs to avoid contact with Wu Yan for a while. When the time comes, who would suspect him when he dies? Of course, tomorrow is an exception. Tomorrow I must teach this bastard a lesson in the arena tower. Bing Makoto looked at Chuju, Makoto and Ikaros with some reluctance. Then he looked at Feifei and Lulu and left with his people. When they were out of sight, Feifei walked to Wu Yan's side and said in a serious tone, "You have to be careful tomorrow. Bing Makoto is a vengeful person. He won't let you go. He's ranked 25th. Wu Yan's mouth bloomed into a smile when he heard that. What he lacked, he got it. Chapter 314. At the center of the Spalier World Academy is a tower. There's a tower here, one that's taller than any other building in Silveria World Institute. It's cylindrical in shape and from afar, it looks like a giant pillar. Only when you get closer, you'll notice that the surface of the tower is slightly irregular. This tower is the Spalier World Academy's arena tower. Anyone with a bit of experience would realize that the combat chi and mana that are hard to find in Silveria World Institute can be sensed by anyone who gets close to the place. Do chi and mana that couldn't be seen by the naked eye were wandering around the arena tower. Everyone's do chi and mana leaked out, and when they gathered together, the arena tower looked like a living beast. It was telling people that this place wasn't a peaceful place. Today, this peaceful place welcomes a person who isn't willing to be peaceful. Wu Yan is also very helpless. Although it's his mission to conquer the arena tower, he just arrived at the Spalier World Academy. He hasn't even had a meal yet. The arena tower won't run away. It won't be too late to challenge the arena tower after he familiarized himself with the Spalier World Academy. It's just that he's not worried about fighting against the major factions tomorrow. However, there's a small problem. Although the people from the various factions looked down on him, he was still a special student. No matter how much they looked down on him, they wouldn't find someone who wasn't a special student to fight with him. Tomorrow only a special student would fight with him. However, which of the special students in the Spalier World Academy hasn't challenged the arena tower before? The floors are too low and the special students aren't willing to stay. Therefore, most of the special students have broken through the 4th floor and are moving around on the 5th floor. Wu Yan, on the other hand, hasn't even broken through the 1st floor. Wu Yan learned from Feifei that the major factions are preparing to accept his challenge on the 5th floor. If he can't make it to the 5th floor tomorrow, he'll become a laughing stock. Therefore, Wu Yan can only come to the arena tower in advance. When Wu Yan walked into the arena tower, a deafening uproar almost made Wu Yan faint. Looking up, I could see countless arenas lined up in an orderly manner. Some of the arenas were empty, waiting for others to come up and use them. Some of the arenas had 2 people standing on them facing each other or fighting. The combat aura and magic on their bodies were burning even hotter than flames. Along with loud shouts, they collided with each other. And in the surroundings there are rows of spectators. A large portion of the deafening uproar came from the spectators. Some are cheering, some are gnashing their teeth, some are arguing with others. In short, there are all kinds of voices. Wu Yan helplessly shook his head and looked around looking for something. And soon Wu Yan found his target. It's a small room without doors and windows opposite the exit. There's a magic formation inside. Wu Yan walked towards the magic formation. He doesn't know if it's an illusion, but Wu Yan felt that he attracted a lot of attention after coming here. Could it be that my reputation has already spread to this extent? What Wu Yan didn't know was that because of his special student uniform, the students on the 1st floor subconsciously lowered their voices. That's why this kind of situation occurred. So when Wu Yan stepped into the magic formation and his figure gradually disappeared, the voices here became a lot louder. After a flash, Wu Yan arrived at an independent arena. To be precise, it's a room with an arena. There's not a trace of people around, there's only a person sitting cross-legged in front of Wu Yan. Welcome, challenger. The first floor master opened his eyes and looked at the challenger who was teleported in. When he saw the person's uniform, the first floor master stared blankly, then his expression turned serious. So it's a special student. Looks like I'm no match for you. Although he said this, the first floor's owner still slowly stood up from the ground. His body suddenly burned with a majestic Dou Qi. Looking at the intensity, the first floor's owner should be at the beginning of rank 6, which meant that he had just reached level 50. Wu Yan couldn't help but exclaim. The first floor has a 6th rank. No wonder the first floor is so lively. It seems like they can't even pass it. But he's still far from being able to stop me. Thank you for your advice. Hearing Wu Yan's words, the first floor master immediately tensed up his muscles. But in less than a second, all his muscles froze. A drop of cold sweat dripped down from his forehead. The reason was because of a hand that had been placed on his neck at some point in time. Looking at Wu Yan, who was standing 10 meters away a second ago and now standing right in front of him, the floor master bitterly laughed and retracted his Dou Qi. Pass. Ding. Congratulations to the user for passing the first floor of the Spalier World Academy's Arena Tower. Obtain 10,000 equipment points, 5,000 ability points and 5,000 summoning points. Character: Wu Yan. Abilities: True Ancestor Bloodline, Sword Expert, Cooking Expert, Complete Memory, Chaotic Return to Horizon Dance, Electromaster, LV5. Equipment: Shana rank C, Dragon Armor rank C, Meteor Storm rank D. Summons: Misaka Mikoto Katsura Hinajiku Ikaros Astria Flandra, Scarlet Shokuhu Misaki Kinuhata Sai Frenda, Takitsubu Riku Misaka Sister. 20,000 Equipment Points, 31,000 Item Points, 210000 Ability Points, 6,000 Summoning Points, 125000 Level 67. As expected, Wu Yan heard the system notification. He smiled and looked at the first floor master. Thank you. The first floor master nodded and said to Wu Yan, your information has been recorded in the center of the arena tower. From now on, when you come to the arena tower, all you need to do is to use the first floor's teleportation circle to reach the second floor. Your reward has also been recorded in your record card. I look forward to your next performance. Wu Yan nodded. At the same time, a teleportation circle appeared in a corner. Go, that's the way to the second floor. Thank you. Wu Yan disappeared from the first floor master's sight. He flew towards the teleportation formation and soon he disappeared into the magic formation. The first floor master stared in the direction of the teleportation magic array. After a long time, he sighed and muttered to himself. Looks like the arena tower is going to be chaotic again. Every floor of the arena tower has a crystal ball. The crystal ball is in operation 365 days a year. It's a screen that has been running since the day the arena tower was built. The main purpose of this screen is to record the progress of the students in Silveria World Institute. Their progress in the Tower of Arena is recorded. When Wu Yan cleared the first floor, Wu Yan's name appeared on the screen labeled Floor 2. The people on the first floor didn't notice. After all, when someone cleared the fourth floor, the crystal ball would notify everyone that someone had entered the fifth floor. Therefore, when someone cleared the second floor, unless they specifically looked for it, not many people would notice it. After all, the entire Spalier World Academy has close to 10 million people. No one noticed that Wu Yan's name disappeared from the second floor and appeared on the third floor. Chapter 316. Ding. Congratulations to user for clearing the fourth floor of Spalier World Academy's Arena Tower. Obtained 40,000 equipment points, 40,000 item points, 20,000 ability points and 20,000 summoning points. Character: Wu Yan. Abilities: True Ancestor Bloodline, Sword Expert, Cooking Expert, Complete Memory, Chaotic Return to Horizon Dance, Electromaster, LV5. Equipment: Shana no Yamano rank C, Dragon Armor rank C, Meteor Storm rank D. Summons: Misaka Mikoto Katsura Hinajiku Ikaros Astria Flandra, Scarlet Shokuhu Misaki Kinuhata Sai Frenda, Takitsubu Riku Misaka Sister, 20,000, Equipment Points. 121000 Item Points. 300000 Ability Points. 51,000 Summoning Points. 170000 Level. 67. Phew. Wu Yan exhaled and he put Nietono no Shana into his SV ring. The floor master helplessly laughed when he saw this. I knew I wasn't your match, but I didn't expect to lose so quickly. With your strength you should be able to get into the top 10, right? Are the other 9 rookies as heaven-defying as you? Wu Yan was surprised. You know about us? The 4th floor master laughed out loud and said mockingly, didn't I say it very clearly just now? We need to go out and get some exercise. How could we not know about the 10 special students entering Spalier World Academy? Wu Yan flinched and he bitterly laughed. However, this floor master is not a bad person to befriend. The 4th floor master stopped laughing and became serious. Although I'm sure you've heard this many times, I'll still say it. Your information has been registered in the center of the Tower of Arena. In the future, whenever you come to the Tower of Arena, you can choose to go to the 5th level through the teleportation portal on the 1st level. Your reward for clearing the level has also been recorded in your record card. At the corner of the room, a familiar teleportation formation slowly floated out. Wu Yan, who has experienced this a few times already, knew that this teleportation formation can send him to the 5th floor. The floor master patted Wu Yan's shoulder and pointed at the teleportation circle. Here the entrance to the 5th floor. This is where special students like you can move around. I wish you a triumphant return tomorrow. Wu Yan helplessly grinned and shrugged. You even know about this matter. It seems like my reputation has spread quite quickly. The floor master couldn't help but laugh when he heard Wu Yan's words. Yes, your reputation spreads fast. It's just that it's not a good reputation. For example, you're an arrogant newbie or a wolf with a big tail. The smile on his face froze. Wu Yan laughed in an embarrassed manner. This made the floor master laugh even more heartily. His laughter reverberated throughout the room. Even Wu Yan couldn't help but blush when he heard the floor master's laughter. He awkwardly walked towards the teleportation circle. At the same time, Wu Yan's name appeared on the 5th floor of the Silveria World IU. Toots level of the Silveria World IU. Toots level of the tournament tower. The crystal ball under the projection screen suddenly trembled, and a mechanical voice came out from it. It rang in the ears of the people who were still in the Tower of Tournament, causing countless people to stop what they were doing. Special Student Wu Yan cleared the 4th floor. Special Student Wu Yan cleared the 4th floor. Special Student Wu Yan cleared the 4th floor. 3 voices with the exact same content came out from the crystal ball, causing everyone to look at each other in dismay. Then a commotion broke out. Yan, isn't that the new special student who's in the limelight? He cleared the 4th floor? That's impossible. Teach, what's impossible about that? Even if he's a newbie, he's still a special student. What's so strange about him clearing the 4th floor? What do you know? Who told you that a special student can clear the 4th floor? The floor master is a tier 7 powerhouse. How could he be defeated so easily? It seems like this newbie has some skills. Not only does he have some skills, he has at least 8. He just entered the school today and at the same time he passed the 4th level today. That is to say, he passed the first 4 levels in a row. How valiant. Powerful. Oh, what a joke. Any one of the special students on the 5th floor can also clear the 4th floor in a row like him. He's just a newbie after all. What qualifications do you have to say that? He's a newbie and he's still a special student. You're not even an elite student. How dare you criticize him? You're courting death. Why can't I say it? I'm still a senior. Oh? Fine, go ahead and say it to him. Why? You don't dare? Hey, are you here to pick a fight? So what if I am? Believe it or not, I'll beat you up. Come on. Just like you, let's go to the arena. I'll bet 1,000 credits with you. Come on. I'm scared of you. Similar conversations were happening in the first few floors of the Tower of Arena. Some were praising Wu Yan while others were belittling Wu Yan. Caused a lot of conflicts and the arena was packed with people. In addition to the conversations above, there were also conversations like this. That Wu Yan is already here. Then will the other 9 beautiful new special students come as well? I really want to take a look. That's right. Those 9 women's appearances have been exaggerated to the point that they look like gods. I want to see if they're really that beautiful. Even if they are, so what? They're special students. Why would they take a fancy to us? That's not necessarily true. Who knows, I might be able to catch the eye of one of them. Save it. Don't you know what you're capable of? It won't be your turn. There must be a lot of people in those big factions eyeing you. Do you want to compete with them? Forget about it. Think about it, since the 9 beauties came with that Wu Yan guy, could it be that they already have some sort of relationship with him? That's true. Sai, when will I be able to hold a good flower? Don't worry. If it's gold, it will always shine. If it's cow dung, it will always have a few good flowers. Bastard. Are you looking for a fight? You're right. I've been looking at you for a long time. Then come on. Let's go to the arena. Let's go. Wait. What? Are you trying to escape? Who's trying to escape? Let me see your record card. Let's see if you have enough credits first. Therefore, a different conversation brought about the same result. In the arena, there were a lot of people who didn't know each other before. Now there were a lot of people who were lovey-dovey in the arena. The news of Wu Yan clearing the 4th floor and going up to the 5th floor was drowned out by the huge amount of people. There's nothing strange about this. After all, it's only a matter of time before a special student reaches the 5th floor. If it was an elite student who reached the 5th floor, they wouldn't be so calm about it. However, a portion of the people with ulterior motives had taken the news away, and these people were all from the 9 great factions. They weren't surprised by the news of Wu Yan reaching the 5th floor. If he couldn't reach the 5th floor, it wouldn't be worth it for them to fight him. What they care about is Chuju, Mikoto, Ikaros, Flandrachan, Shokuhu, Misaki, Astria, Kinuhada, Sai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku. Why is there no news of the other 9 special students? Chapter 317. The Spalier World Academy was extremely vast. Just the journey from the villa area to the center of the Spalier World Academy, where the arena tower was located, had taken Wu Yan quite a bit of time. Now when he walked out of the arena tower, the sky was already slightly yellow. It seemed that dusk would arrive soon and then it would be almost dark. Wu Yan rubbed his chin and glanced in the direction of his villa. Then he took out a small atlas from his space ring. On it were the words Spalier World Academy map. His wine-red eyes swept across the atlas. Wu Yan put the atlas away and took out a crystal-like card. This crystal card was a record card. In other words, it was a card to record a student's credits. The credits of the Spalier World Academy were not the so-called credits of Wu Yan's world. The credits here were used as hard currency for transactions, equivalent to money. In the Spalier World Academy, almost all transactions were inseparable from the word credits. Even if you wanted to barter, the other party would tell you in advance how many credits his item was worth. Generally speaking, students who passed the Tower of Arena's checkpoints would receive a corresponding reward for passing the checkpoint, which was a reward of academic credits. The higher the checkpoint, the more academic credits would be rewarded. After passing 4 levels in a row, Wu Yan received a considerable amount of credits. Looking at the number 110,000 on the record card, Wu Yan couldn't help but smile. According to what he knew, passing the first level of the arena tower would give you 10,000 credits. The second level would give you 20,000 credits. The third level would give you 30,000 credits. And the fourth level would give you 50,000 credits. After passing 4 levels in a row, Wu Yan received 110,000 credits as a reward. This kind of credits was something that even the ordinary special credits didn't have. After all, students with special potential usually wouldn't choose to pass the arena tower. Naturally, they wouldn't have as many credits as the other special students. Of course, the young masters and young ladies of the big factions were an exception. They could find some things from their homes to exchange for a lot of credits. Some special students, on the other hand, had to pass the levels separately. Before they could accumulate enough credits, they would have spent them. Of course, the young masters and young ladies of the big factions were an exception. Wu Yan may have a lot of credits right now, but it won't be long before his credits start to dwindle. After putting away the record card, Wu Yan strode towards the trading district. The teaching system of the Spalier World Academy was very unusual. There were no teachers to teach, no books to study, and no classrooms to sit in. The only thing that existed was the students' own efforts. If they wanted to increase their strength, then they had to use all the resources in the Spalier World Academy to move forward. There was no shortage of potions and treasures that could increase strength in the Spalier World Academy. What the students had to do was to earn credits in addition to their cultivation. Then they would buy all the resources that could increase their strength and use them to support their cultivation. And Wu Yan was doing the same thing as the other students. He would use his credits to exchange for things that could increase his strength. However, Wu Yan wasn't interested in potions and treasures that could increase his strength. Those things couldn't increase his level that was linked to the system. What Wu Yan wanted to buy were things that could be turned over to the system in exchange for points. As long as he had points, then the system would be the only way to increase his strength. He had other plans for equipment. Props didn't have any direct help in increasing his strength. Summoning was even more related to increasing his strength. Therefore, Wu Yan's goal this time was to obtain ability points. In other words, it was to exchange for magic crystals. As long as he exchanged for enough magic crystals and turned them over to the system, he would be able to obtain the corresponding ability points. With ability points, he would be able to exchange for abilities that could increase his strength. And today Wu Yan coincidentally found out what ability he was still lacking. He had already chosen his target and was only lacking ability points to exchange for it. It took Wu Yan half an hour to walk from the arena tower to the trading district. This made Wu Yan feel quite annoyed. If not for the trading district being an extremely lively place in the Spalier World Academy, Wu Yan would have directly flown to avoid attracting attention. Half an hour later, Wu Yan stopped outside an extremely wide street. There were many trading companies set up on the street, lined up in an orderly manner. On the signboards of these trading companies, there were clear and easy to understand words so that people wouldn't be unable to find the things they needed. Even if they couldn't find it, just standing outside and looking inside, the dazzling array of goods on the counter was enough to attract people's attention. In the street, the crowd was bustling. The fiery popularity was even more lively than the modern commercial streets of Academy City. Wu Yan couldn't help but click his tongue. Walking into this huge street, the surrounding noise almost made Wu Yan lose his bearings. He couldn't even distinguish between north, south, east, and west. This made Wu Yan curse in his heart. With a slight twist of his body, Wu Yan immediately squeezed into the crowd. His gaze constantly swept through the items in the trading companies on both sides. As his gaze swept through, Wu Yan's heart became more and more surprised. He found that some of the rare items here were not inferior to some of the big trading companies in the supply town. Perhaps it was because the Spalier World Academy was different in nature, but some of the rare items were even hard to find in some of the trading companies in the supply town. After being surprised for a while, Wu Yan began to look for the things he needed. Because the things Wu Yan needed were not treasures, they were just ordinary magic crystals. Therefore it wasn't too difficult to find. After spending less than 15 minutes, Wu Yan found a trading company that specialized in selling magic crystals. Squeezing through the crowd, Wu Yan walked into one of the trading companies. He saw that the trading company was filled with all kinds of magic crystals. The magic crystals flickered with all kinds of light, illuminating the entire shop with all kinds of colors, displaying the function of magic lamps. Some of the larger magic crystals had more intense light circulating around them. There was even a trace of aura on the magic crystals that could be detected. With one look, one could tell that they weren't ordinary items. An old geezer is sitting behind a counter filled with magic crystals. His legs are crossed as he leisurely swayed back and forth. When Wu Yan entered the shop, the old geezer glared at Wu Yan before turning his head away. It's as if Wu Yan isn't a special student but an errand boy. Waving his hand lazily at Wu Yan, the disheveled old man said impatiently, "What do you want? Just bring it up. I'll say this first, there's no bargaining here." Wu Yan's footsteps paused and he frowned. He was a little dissatisfied. Isn't this guy's attitude a little too bad? Is this how people do business? Aren't they afraid that no one will patronize them? Just as this thought occurred to him, Wu Yan smiled bitterly. He looked at the crowded streets and the various trading companies, then at this place. It was deserted. Apart from those high-grade magic crystals, there was only a disheveled old man. It was obvious that no one would patronize this place. If not for the fact that the magic crystals here were of a much higher grade than those in other trading companies and could be exchanged for relatively more ability points, Wu Yan might have directly left. Glancing at the disheveled old man who ignored him after saying one sentence, Wu Yan sighed inwardly and told himself, "Forget it, what's the point of bickering with an old man?" Wu Yan then walked in front of the disheveled old man. The old man didn't even look at Wu Yan as he extended his hand. "Give it to me, let me see how many credits it's worth." Wu Yan waved his hand and he placed his ID card on the counter. He said, "How many magic crystals are worth this? Name a price." Chapter 318. Sitting on the bed, Wu Yan waved his hand and a large number of magic crystals appeared out of thin air in front of Wu Yan. They fell towards the bed and scattered on Wu Yan's bed. This batch of magic crystals was bought by Wu Yan at the cost of 100,000 credits from that old man with a terrible attitude. The lowest grade in this batch of magic crystals was rank 6, and a small number were rank 7. It's not that Wu Yan didn't think of buying tier 8 magic crystals. After all, the higher the level of the magic crystal, the more ability points it can be exchanged for. However, it's not that the old geezer doesn't have any tier 8 magic crystals, but the price is too high. If he does the conversion, he would be making a loss. Therefore, Wu Yan could only settle for the next best thing and buy the rank 6 and 7 magic crystals. In the end, he was left with only 10,000 credits. Picking up a magic crystal, Wu Yan thought of his severely diluted record card and couldn't help but sigh. Sure enough, no matter what it was always faster to spend it than to earn it. Next time let Ikaros and the others challenge the Tower of Arena. It's free credits anyway, it's a waste not to take them. After muttering this, Wu Yan looked at the magic crystals in front of him and waved his hand again. In the next second, the few magic crystals disappeared on the spot. Only this time they didn't get put away, they completely disappeared. Ding. Obtained 100,000 ability points. 100,000 ability points? That's right, it's linked to the spent credits. Shaking his head lightly, Wu Yan stretched out his hand and swiped in the air. Instantly, the system's projection list was pulled out by Wu Yan like the screensaver of a phone. He tapped on the ability column and skill, talent, and bloodline columns appeared on the projection list. Wu Yan's hand paused for a moment before he tapped on the skill column. Following Wu Yan's actions, a dazzling array of skill abilities appeared in Wu Yan's sight. The corner of Wu Yan's mouth twitched slightly. An impulse arose in his heart to tap on all the abilities. However, when he thought of his 151,000 ability points that just became 151,000, Wu Yan could only choose to ignore it. After all, even if he used the magic crystals to exchange for his ability points, it was just enough to exchange for the ability he wanted. Dragging on the list of abilities with one hand, Wu Yan stopped not long after. A familiar term appeared in front of Wu Yan's eyes. Infinite martial arts. Unparalleled martial arts that completely fuses the mind, technique and body into one. No matter what kind of mental restrictions one is under, one's combat ability will be perfectly unleashed to the limit. Ability points. 150,000. Today, when he was challenging the 4th floor, Wu Yan discovered that he had the bloodline of a true ancestor, and had become a true ancestor. At the same time, he also had infinite vitality, regeneration and powerful physical abilities. However, he was unable to perfectly unleash his originally powerful physical abilities to the limit. Wu Yan knows that this is his weakness. No matter how you look at it, he's just a normal otaku. Compared to those who have been training and honing their strength since young, there's no way he can compare to them. At the very most, Wu Yan only had the sword mastery ability, which gave him a sword mastery that was not inferior to a sword master's. However, in other aspects, there was no way it could compare to sword mastery at all. If it wasn't for the complete memory ability and Mikoto's constant demonstration, Wu Yan would have needed some time to hone his electromancer ability before he could use it well. If he had honed his skills honestly, there would have been a day when Wu Yan would be able to fully utilize his own abilities. However, since there was a better way in the system, he would be an idiot not to use it. Infinite martial arts was Lancelot's ability in Fate. It was an ability that completely fused the mind, technique and body and perfectly unleashed them to the limit. It was just what Wu Yan needed right now. In the original work, even in berserk mode, Lancelot's lost mind could still perfectly unleash his own combat abilities under the guidance of his body. One could imagine how much more powerful infinite martial arts was compared to sword mastery in terms of techniques. Moreover, infinite martial arts was not limited to sword mastery. As long as it was one's own strength, it would be able to perfectly unleash it. Moreover, it would grant Wu Yan unparalleled skills and a heart of steel. If he exchanged it for infinite martial arts, although his level would not increase, his strength would increase by a lot. At the very least, Wu Yan's powerful physical strength that belonged to a true ancestor would not go to waste. His combat skills would also be raised to the level of an expert among experts. Compared to letting Wu Yan spend a lot of time honing his skills, it was undoubtedly more worth it. Moreover, skill type abilities all had a special characteristic, and that was because they belonged to the aspect of using techniques. Therefore, skill type abilities would directly record the method of using the ability and engrave it into the user's mind. Even if he wanted to forget it, he would not be able to. In the future, if by any chance Wu Yan's ability was limited, then the skill type ability would definitely not be limited because the method of using it had already been recorded. As long as his skull was not broken, he would be able to use it. Therefore, when he thought of the ability in terms of techniques, it was the first thing that came to mind. However, Wu Yan did not expect that his 100,000 academic credits would be exchanged for the same number of ability points. Fortunately, when he challenged the Tower of Arena previously, there were rewards for completing the mission. Otherwise, Wu Yan would have to be thick-skinned and borrow from Fei Fei and Lulu. At that moment, Wu Yan clicked on Infinite Martial Arts to exchange. Ding! Obtained Infinite Martial Arts. When the system's notification rang out, Wu Yan's mind also exploded and instantly became blank. At the same time, countless memory fragments appeared out of nowhere and forcefully squeezed into Wu Yan's mind. A sharp pain burst out from the depths of his mind, causing Wu Yan to involuntarily hold his head. The veins on his forehead had already popped out, proving that Wu Yan was actually not having a good time at this moment. An endless stream of memory fragments appeared out of nowhere and squeezed into Wu Yan's mind. They squeezed into the deepest part of his memory and deeply engraved into Wu Yan's mind, supplementing Wu Yan's memory. As more and more memory fragments were accepted into Wu Yan's mind, Wu Yan's expression gradually eased. From time to time, wisps of understanding flashed in his eyes, as if he had understood something. At this moment, the system rang out again. Ding! User's ability, Sword Mastery, and Infinite Martial Arts are compatible. Sword Mastery has been merged into Infinite Martial Arts. Ding! User's ability, Cooking Mastery, and Infinite Martial Arts are compatible. Cooking Mastery has been merged into Infinite Martial Arts. Ding! User's ability, Complete Memory, and Infinite Martial Arts are compatible. Complete Memory has been merged into Infinite Martial Arts. Ding! User's ability, Chaotic Return to Horizon Waltz, and Infinite Martial Arts are compatible. Chaotic Return to Horizon Waltz has been merged into Infinite Martial Arts. Character, Wu Yan abilities, True Ancestor Bloodline, Infinite Martial Arts, Electromaster, LV5. Equipment, Shana the Emperor, Rank C, Dragon Armor, Rank C, Meteor Storm, Rank B. Summons, Misaka Mikoto Katsura Hinajiku Ikaros Astria Flandra, Scarlet Shokuhu Misaki, Kinohata Sai, Frenda, Takitsubu Riku Misaka Sisters, 20,000, Equipment Points, 121000 Item Points, 300,000 Ability Points, 1,000 Summoning Points, 170000 Level, 67, Wu Yan was stunned. Chapter 319. In the sky, the scorching sunlight poured down mercilessly from the big fireball, covering the wide ground. Everything that was exposed to the sun became hotter, telling people how good the weather was today and how high the temperature was. In this kind of weather, the best choice was to hide at home and eat ice cream, especially the girls. How many of them would be willing to expose their skin to the sun? But today the Spalier World Academy wasn't the same as yesterday. Many of the students who were supposed to be in their own residences were rushing towards a certain direction. that direction was the direction of the Tower of Arena. It had to be said that although the rumor of a new special student challenging one of the 9 forces was scoffed at by countless people and received unanimous negative comments, it was still a fact that the rumor spread like wildfire. In the Spalier World Academy, whether they were here to watch the show or just to watch, they all had to admit that Wu Yan was indeed the center of attention. Perhaps the higher-ups in the Spalier World Academy knew about this. Therefore, in the Tower of Arena today, even the students who couldn't pass the 4th floor and could only move around the 5th floor were able to see the situation on the 5th floor through the projection of a crystal ball. Today, the 5th floor of the Tower of Arena was also completely booked. The numerous arenas were all empty. Not a single person chose to fight today. The students all chose to be an honest spectator to watch this feast. It was the same for the areas below the 5th floor of the Tower of Arena. It could be said that since the establishment of the Spalier World Academy's Tower of Arena, such a situation had never happened before. In this respect, Wu Yan was indeed a pioneer. Because no one would be like him, declaring war on the Spalier World Academy or the 9 factions of the Spalier World. And just as Wu Yan said, he became famous. At the 5th floor of the Tower of Arena, the members of the 9 factions were gathered around a rather large arena, waiting for the main characters of the day to arrive. Among them was Fei Fei, who led Deadly Forest, Bing Mian and Bai Shi, who led Sea of Icicles and Crimson Land respectively. As for some of the special students from the smaller factions who were not related to the 9 major factions, they sat down in the spectator seats. Countless students on the 3 floors below the 5th floor looked up at the projection screen, waiting for the arrival of the battle. The students on the 1st floor, on the other hand, turned their heads and looked in another direction, towards the entrance of the Tower of Arena. At a certain moment, one of the sharp-eyed student's eyes suddenly lit up. He abruptly stretched out his finger and pointed at the entrance of the Tower of Tournament as he shouted loudly, "They're here." When the voice rang out, all the students on the 1st level of the Tower of Battle swiftly turned their heads and looked towards the entrance of the Tower of Battle. There 3 figures were slowly walking in. It's Wu Yan, Chuju and Mikoto. Yesterday, Hinajiku, Mikoto and Ikaros passed the first 4 floors of the arena tower and obtained the entry ticket to the 5th floor. However, Flandrachan's power was sealed, so she couldn't come to the arena tower. That's why she couldn't tag along. It's not that Wu Yan can't temporarily remove the seal, but who knows if Flandrachan's mind will go haywire again after she regains her power? So the 3 of them left Ikaros behind to take care of Flandrachan and entered the Tower of Arena together. They were worried about Ikaros taking care of Flandrachan, but since Ikaros wanted to share Wu Yan's burden, she accepted this heavy responsibility, without a second thought. The 3 of them had no choice but to believe in Ikaros' ability to nurse Flandrachan. The moment Wu Yan, Chuju and Mikoto stepped into the Tower of Arena, the 1st floor of the Tower of Arena fell into an eerie silence. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Wu Yan, Chuju and Mikoto slowly made their way to the teleportation circle. When they reached the 5th floor, the number of students before Wu Yan's group wasn't as scary as the 1st floor. After all, there are only special students on the 5th floor. There are at most 1,000 of them, and there are a few otherworldly experts who didn't come. Therefore, Wu Yan's group didn't feel as uncomfortable as they did on the 1st floor. Yen. The moment Wu Yan appeared, Fei Fei immediately led Fatal Forest's members to greet him under the watchful eyes of the other factions. Her actions speak volumes about one thing. Fei Fei is on Wu Yan's side. Looking straight at Wu Yan's face, Fei Fei asked softly, "What do you think? Are you confident?" Although Fei Fei had 100% confidence in Wu Yan's strength, she doubted that Wu Yan would be able to last until the end under the challenge of so many people. At the very least, Fei Fei admitted that she wouldn't be able to do it if she didn't use some recovery potions and treasures. Before Wu Yan could say anything, Chuju laughed and said to Fei Fei, "Fei Fei, don't worry about it. It's good to let him be taught a lesson, right?" Wu Yan's face fell and he rolled his eyes at Chuju. Mikoto was also dissatisfied. Chuju's right. It's best if this guy slips up and gets taught a lesson. Seriously, he didn't even let me fight. Wu Yan's mouth twitched. The last sentence should be your true thoughts, right? Mikoto turned her head. That's right. Seeing Wu Yan, Chuju and Mikoto still have the time to show off their love, Fei Fei couldn't help but sigh in relief. At least she didn't see any lack of confidence on Wu Yan's face. Not far away, the people from the 8 factions coldly watched the interaction between Wu Yan's group and Fei Fei. Bing Mian snorted and looked coldly at Wu Yan. Since you're here, then go on stage. There are many people here whose time is precious. They don't have that much time to waste on a newbie like you. Wu Yan faintly glanced at Bing Mian and chuckled. He walked towards the arena. Everywhere he went, the people from the 9 factions opened up a path for Wu Yan to enter the arena. Standing on the arena, Wu Yan looked down at everyone and then turned to look at Bing Mian with a smile. Since your time is precious, then go on first. Don't worry, I know your time is precious, but it won't take much time. Arrogant. Bing Mian's face darkened. A murderous aura flashed in his cold eyes. How could he not understand Wu Yan's meaning? He's obviously saying that it won't take much time to deal with him. Let's see if you still have that sharp tongue when you're kicked off the stage. Bing Mian has made up his mind. He won't let Wu Yan off so easily. He's going to humiliate Wu Yan in the arena and then kick him out. He won't let him off so easily. Even though Wu Yan said that he'll join the faction of whoever defeats him, Bing Mian doesn't want to accept someone who's about to die into the sea of ice. Even if there's no evidence to prove that he's the culprit, he'll still be implicated. However, even if he doesn't accept Wu Yan, Chuju and Mikoto are a different story. Bing Mian glanced at Chuju and Mikoto not far away. In his mind, he was still thinking about Ikaros, whom he met yesterday. Involuntarily, a sinister sneer appeared on his face. Bing Mian didn't notice Wu Yan's cold smile on his face. Wu Yan had been staring at Bing Mian all this while. Bing Mian didn't notice the cold smile on Wu Yan's face. Chapter 320. As Wu Yan stepped onto the stage, the atmosphere on the 5th floor became tense. Everyone held their breaths and the silence was terrifying. The arena was surrounded by the members of the 9 factions. Chuju and Mikoto stood beside Fei Fei in front of Deadly Forest. They looked at the arena calmly. A lot of people saw Hinajiku and Mikoto's faces. Some were suspicious. They didn't understand why they weren't worried about their companions. Some laughed in disdain in their opinion. Maybe the 2 girls were just blindly trusting each other. While some pondered, could it be that their relationship wasn't that good? No matter how they guessed, they wouldn't have guessed that the 2 girls didn't trust each other blindly. They trusted each other completely. In the arena, other than Wu Yan, there's only one referee left. Although he's called a referee, he's only responsible for handing over the credits of the duels and announcing the end of the duel. The judge glanced at Wu Yan and the crowd. Now let's begin the battle for the new special student Wu Yan. Are there any challengers? Everyone focused on the judge's words. Wu Yan looked at Bing Mian. His meaning was obvious. Bing Mian sneered. He looked at Wu Yan and said mockingly, "You don't think you have the right to make me, the second leader of the Sea of Icicles, attack you in the first round, do you? Let's talk about it after you've passed the test." Wu Yan rubbed his chin as if he's thinking of something. He couldn't help but smile. "You're not suitable to go up on stage. You should just stay below the stage. You're the second leader of the Sea of Icicles. You." Of course, Wu Yan is referring to the day when Bing Mian ambushed him. Bing Mian didn't seem to notice that. He thought Wu Yan was mocking him. His face was as dark as a thundercloud. Bishi looked at Wu Yan from afar. He wanted to make a move, but as a cautious person he decided against it. He decided to observe for the time being. The other 6 factions had the same idea. Therefore, for a moment the scene actually became a little cold. Just as Wu Yan was about to lose his patience, the judge spoke first. "Are there no challengers?" The judge's words didn't sound fair and strict. Instead, he sounded impatient. What surprised Wu Yan is the fact that the 9 factions, including Bing Mian, are starting to get restless after hearing the referee's words. At that moment, Bing waved to a special student behind him and said to him, "You go up. Don't hold back." "Yes, sir." The special student responded and raised his head. Suddenly, a face full of scars appeared in front of everyone. He was grinning maliciously. Under the watchful eyes of the audience, he leaped into the arena and landed in front of Wu Yan. It was at this moment that the audience saw the true form of this person. The muscles all over his body bulged as if they were exploding. Their surface was shining with a metallic luster. Countless scars crisscrossed his body, making him look particularly intimidating. Even though he was more than 5 meters away from Wu Yan, everyone could see that Wu Yan was like a child compared to Bing Mian. They couldn't help but wonder how he managed to hide behind Bing Mian without being noticed. He grinned maliciously at Wu Yan and said, "Ranked 58th, special student from the Sea of Icicles. Little guy, accept my challenge." Wu Yan nodded and took out his record card. 10,000 credits. If you win, it's yours. Bing Mian grinned maliciously and took out his record card as well. In that case, I'll gladly accept your 10,000 credits. The referee spoke when he saw Wu Yan and Bing Mian take out their record cards at the same time. Both parties, please hand your record cards to me. Wu Yan saw the arrogant Li Shi retracting his ugly smile. He respectfully handed his record card to the referee. That look of his is more of a grandson than a grandson. Wu Yan looked at Bing Mian in surprise. Wu Yan realized that most of the people present were in awe of the referee. This surprised Wu Yan. Wu Yan glanced at the referee. His eyes flashed and he activated the system's perception. Then he clicked his tongue. The referee was actually at the 8th stage. The 8th stage cultivator actually came to be a referee? Wu Yan fell into deep thought. It seemed that the upper echelons of the Spalier World Academy had found out about this feast. Perhaps they were afraid of unexpected casualties, so they arranged for a referee who could control the situation. No wonder Bing Mian became a grandson. After handing over his own record card to the referee left the arena. Now there were only 2 people left in the arena. Bing Mian became arrogant once the referee left the arena. He looked at Wu Yan, who only reached his waist, and laughed loudly. "If you're afraid, I don't mind if you surrender, kid." Wu Yan only smiled at Bing Mian's arrogance and looked at him. "All right, if necessary, I'll give you time to surrender, big guy." Ryushi snickered in disdain and he yelled out loud. A surge of Dou Qi ignited from his body and enveloped his huge body. The powerful Dou Qi created a huge gust of wind that blew towards Wu Yan. It blew Wu Yan's hair into a broom. "Haha, die." Li Shi laughed heartily and raised his fist. Suddenly, all the battle qi in his body condensed towards his fist. When the last trace of battle qi fused into his fist, Li Shi's fist actually enlarged by several times. "It's here. Bing Mian's destruction fist." Haha, once the destruction fist is used, that newbie is in for a bad time. He won't be able to survive without breaking a few bones. Seeing this, the people from Sea of Dense Ice cheered loudly. Even Bing Mian had a smile on his face. Fei Fei, on the other hand, had a serious expression. "This is going to be troublesome," Chuju heard and couldn't help but ask. "Fei Fei, is that destruction fist very powerful?" Fei Fei tightened her grip on Night Elf and said with a slight headache. "It is indeed very powerful. At least if I take that punch head-on, I won't be able to avoid serious injuries." At this point, Fei Fei laughed again. Of course, although the destruction fist is very powerful, its speed is limited. If you want to, you should be able to dodge it easily. Chuju nodded. At this time, Mikoto's mouth twitched and she said calmly, "That guy, don't tell me he wants to take the punch head-on?" Fei Fei and Hinajiku were shocked when they heard Mikoto's words. They looked at the arena and they couldn't stay calm anymore. The reason for that is Wu Yan's eagerness to give it a try. Fei Fei was shocked. She took 2 steps forward and shouted at Wu Yan. "Yan, you can't take that punch head-on. Even you can't take it head-on." Unfortunately, Wu Yan didn't react to Fei Fei's words. Instead, Bing Mian was excited. He was most afraid that his opponent would dodge. Now that his opponent wants to take the punch head-on, it's the perfect opportunity. With a loud roar, Bing Mian raised his fist and smashed it towards Wu Yan's chest. Everywhere the fist passed, the air started to burn. It was like a falling meteorite. No one doubted that Wu Yan would be seriously injured by this punch. At this critical moment, Wu Yan raised his hand and met the incoming destruction fist head-on. He met it head-on. After a loud bang, Bing Mian's fist that was as big as a table was locked in a stalemate with Wu Yan's small fist. Chapter 321. Everyone was stunned. Whether it was the spectators or the people from the 9 factions, there was no exception. Even Fei Fei, Chuju and Mikoto were a little dazed. Almost everyone who knew Strongman knew about his destruction fist. That was a punch that could smash an ordinary person into pieces. In the past, even those rank 8 teachers didn't dare to take this punch head-on. But now this newcomer actually did. At this moment, everyone had the same thought. They had kicked an iron plate. This is impossible. Li Shi cried out involuntarily. He could feel that the tiny fist that was pressing against his own fist had a strength that was 1 or 2 times stronger than his destruction fist. Li Shi couldn't believe it. His opponent was clearly just a tiny little thing. Satisfaction flashed through his wine-red eyes. Wu Yan is satisfied. One look and you can tell that Li Shi's destruction fist is something that no one below tier 8 can take on. If he did. The true ancestor's powerful body was one of the reasons. Another reason was the infinite martial refinement that he had just exchanged for yesterday. If it was before, Wu Yan wouldn't have been able to take on this punch. But now, with the infinite martial refinement, Wu Yan condensed all the strength in his body into a hard force and directly took on this punch. For the first time, this powerful body of his was able to display its sharpness. The corner of Wu Yan's mouth curled up. Looking at the dazed strongman in front of him, his eyes narrowed. With a light shout, he suddenly exerted his strength and pushed back strongman's huge fist. The hand that was originally in the shape of a fist suddenly changed into the shape of a palm. Wu Yan directly aimed at strongman's exposed chest and fiercely pushed it. Following a muffled bang, strongman immediately screamed. His 200-kilogram body was sent flying by Wu Yan's palm. He flew over the heads of the audience below the stage and smashed into the wall of the spectator stand. After another muffled bang, the wall was smashed into pieces by strongman's body. Strongman's head drooped and he directly fainted. The entire venue was silent. The referee's 2 hands that were holding the record cards swiped twice. The record card that belonged to Wu Yan changed from 10,000 to 20,000. At the same time, the referee raised his hand and shouted, "Wu Yan versus Strongman. Wu Yan wins." Following the referee's voice, everyone present sucked in a breath of cold air. For a moment, the entire 5th floor was filled with gasps that reverberated in the air. Everyone looked at the fainted strongman, who had smashed the wall into pieces and hung on the wall. Their faces were filled with shock. No one could say anything at this moment. One move. With just one move, strongman of the Sea of Icicles, who was ranked 58th in the Spalier World Academy, was defeated just like that. In an instant, many people recalled their previous evaluations of Wu Yan, such as arrogant, ridiculous, and so on. Now all of that vanished into thin air, leaving not a single trace behind. At this time, if anyone still thought that Wu Yan was arrogant, then that person was an idiot. The referee looked at Wu Yan and said seriously, "New special student Wu Yan defeated strongman of the 58th rank. I hereby announce that Wu Yan has obtained the 58th rank." Ding. Congratulations to the user for defeating the 58th rank of the Spalier World Academy and obtaining the 58th rank. Successfully ascended to the top 100. Obtained 10,000 equipment points, 5,000 ability points, 5,000 summoning points. Ding. Congratulations to the user for defeating the 58th rank of the Spalier World Academy and obtaining the 58th rank. Successfully ascended to the top 90. Obtained 20,000 equipment points, 10,000 ability points, 10,000 summoning points. Ding. Congratulations to the user for defeating the 58th rank of the Spalier World Academy and obtaining the 58th rank. Successfully ascended to the top 80. Obtained 30,000 equipment points, 15,000 ability points, 15,000 summoning points. Ding. Congratulations to the user for defeating the 58th rank of the Spalier World Academy and obtaining the 58th rank. Successfully ascended to the top 70. Obtained 40,000 equipment points, 20,000 ability points, 20,000 summoning points. Ding. Congratulations to the user for defeating the 58th rank of the Spalier World Academy and obtaining the 58th rank. Successfully ascended to the top 60. Obtained 50,000 equipment points, 25,000 ability points, 25,000 summoning points. Listening to the incessant system notifications, Wu Yan laughed. He couldn't help but laugh. Just by pushing someone, he received a total of 150,000 equipment points, 75,000 ability points, and 75,000 summoning points. If he didn't laugh, then when would he laugh? The sudden increase in points made Wu Yan unable to hide his excitement. He looked at the ice surface. Since the 58th rank gave him so much, Then defeating the 25th rank would mean that he wouldn't have to worry about points for the time being. Wu Yan looked at the crowd below the stage as if he was looking at a fat sheep. He softly shouted, "Again." The word "again" angered many of the students of the 9 factions who were still a little afraid. A cold snort came from below the stage and entered everyone's ears. The owner of the snort came out from one of the factions and walked onto the stage. "What's there to be arrogant about defeating the 58th rank? I'm the 49th rank. Let me tell you, the 58th rank you defeated is nothing in the eyes of us who are in the top 50. After saying that, the person took out his record card and got into a battle stance. 5 seconds later, with another muffled sound, another person appeared next to the strongman hanging on the wall. Ding! Congratulations to the user for defeating the 49th ranker of Silveria World Institute and obtaining the 49th ranker in the ranking. Successfully ascended to the top 50. Obtained 60,000 equipment points, 30,000 ability points, summoning points. Again. Kid, you better not be too arrogant. Let me tell you, I'm the 40th rank. Bang. Ding. Congratulations to the user for defeating the 40th rank of the Spalier World Academy and obtaining the 40th rank. Successfully ascended to the top 40. Obtained 70,000 equipment points, 35,000 ability points, summoning points. Again. Damn it. Don't be too arrogant. I'm the 36th rank. Bang. I'm the 34th rank. Bang. I'm the 31st rank. Towards the end, the people coming up to the stage got stronger and stronger. Gradually, Wu Yan couldn't do the same thing as before, where he could take down his opponents in one move. However, these people didn't pose any threat to Wu Yan. At most, they delayed the muffled sound that was supposed to be heard immediately. Then they went down the same path as the people in front of them. Muffled sounds rang out rhythmically in everyone's ears. Following each muffled sound, a human imprint would appear on the wall. Over time, the human imprints actually lined up in a row. In the spectator stands and at the side of the arena, all the students were starting to get numb to the incessant sounds. This time, they truly realized that the other party wasn't an arrogant person. Even if he was, he also had the strength to be arrogant. Bing Mian's face was ashen. He was panting heavily. Bing Mian told himself that his opponent's stamina would reach its limit soon. At that time, he would be able to teach him a lesson. As Bing Mian thought of this, he did not realize that his eyes were no longer as disdainful as before. Chapter 322. Wu Yan stood in the center of the arena and glanced at the flickering afterimages around him. His heart was calm as though he had already seen through those afterimages. The infinite martial refinement, the unparalleled martial art of mind, technique and physique, could give Wu Yan an unparalleled body technique that could turn something rotten into something magical. Naturally, it could also give Wu Yan a mind technique that ordinary people could not touch. The true ancestor's powerful combat ability, coupled with the magical infinite martial refinement, allowed Wu Yan to possess both strength and technique at the same time. Compared to the day before, his strength had increased by quite a bit. If Wu Yan had the confidence to contend with a stage 8 powerhouse in the past, then now, by relying on the true ancestor's bloodline and the infinite martial refinement, Wu Yan was confident that he could fight against a stage 8 powerhouse. Which one was stronger? Contending or fighting? No one would not be able to tell. Wu Yan's heart was calm. All the sounds around him had been automatically blocked by him. All that was left was his quiet world and the sound of footsteps on the floor. At a certain moment, Wu Yan suddenly tilted his head slightly. In the next second, a fist appeared in front of Wu Yan out of thin air. It brushed past Wu Yan's cheek and smashed behind Wu Yan. Wu Yan placed a hand on the arm that passed through his shoulder and smiled at the frightened face in front of him. Then he pushed his palm fiercely against the student's chest. After an unknown number of muffled sounds, the Redland special student who had relied on his super high speed to contend with Wu Yan for a while, was sent flying. He followed Li Shi and the others in front of him and smashed into the wall. The referee seemed to be used to it. When the muffled sounds were heard, he raised his arm and announced loudly, "The new special student Wu Yan wins." All the students present looked at the wall that was filled with people. They didn't know what to feel, especially the people from the major factions. Other than Deadly Forest, None of them were not feeling conflicted. After all, this was the first time the newcomer had won a battle. Originally, the students from the big forces wanted to stand out in front of their boss and teach that arrogant newbie a lesson. However, at this moment they had already thrown their previous thoughts into the gutter. None of the top 40 super experts were able to inflict any damage to the other party. What could they do? Actually, they weren't the only ones with such thoughts. The students below the 5th floor who could only move around on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th floors were also thinking the same thing. The students who didn't think highly of Wu Yan and thought that Wu Yan was arrogant and conceited tossed that thought away. If someone who was already ranked 31st could be considered arrogant and conceited, then what were they? Wu Yan's strength was finally accepted by all the students of the Spalier World Academy. Wu Yan was truly famous now. A new special student challenged one of the 9 major factions of the Spalier World Academy in less than 2 days and instantly became the 31st powerhouse. It was hard for him not to be famous. Fei Fei had a smile on her face. Her worry had disappeared after seeing Wu Yan's performance. Fei Fei didn't expect Wu Yan to not be tired at all after so many battles. Fei Fei didn't need to worry that Wu Yan would be killed by the wheels. Fei Fei has been observing Wu Yan since the beginning. She noticed that Wu Yan's every move, every style, every move, every step, it's as if he's going through the most meticulous planning. While he's displaying his skills to the fullest, he didn't waste any of his energy. It's as if he was a master who had trained hard for his whole life. Fei Fei had to admit that Wu Yan was much stronger than the last time she fought him in Bihurl. At least, Fei Fei believed that Wu Yan hadn't used his full strength yet. Fei Fei raised Night Elf and her eyes flashed with fighting spirit. She looked at Wu Yan and she mumbled. "You're not the only one who got stronger." Chuju and Mikoto heard Fei Fei's murmur and looked at each other with a smile. Then they looked at the figure in the arena again. Unlike Fei Fei who was worried, Chuju and Mikoto didn't believe that Wu Yan would lose. They were only worried that Wu Yan would fight recklessly and get injured unnecessarily. Unlike Hinajiku, Mikoto and Fei Fei who were having a joyous atmosphere, the people from the other 8 factions were all having a dark expression on their faces. After all, those who had been easily defeated just now were all their proud battle generals. Especially Bing Mian. His face couldn't be described as dark anymore. Or rather, purple would be more appropriate. Out of all of them, he was the one who hated Wu Yan the most. Enough. Bing Mian looked at the wall of people behind him and shouted loudly, attracting everyone's attention. Under everyone's gaze, Bing Mian took a deep breath and walked towards the arena. Finally decided to come up? A pair of wine-red eyes that were originally filled with indifference gradually turned cold. Bing Mian couldn't look at him, but how could he look at Bing Mian? Bing Mian's disgusting gaze towards Chuju, Mikoto, and the others was enough for Wu Yan to hate him. What's more, Bing Mian wanted to set him up. "This time I'll teach you a lesson." The 2 people standing in the arena had the same thought. Bing Mian looked at Wu Yan coldly, killing intent flashed in his eyes. "I don't want to wait any longer." Wu Yan smiled faintly. "From the start I've said that your time is precious. Don't waste it. Who can you blame? Just get on the arena and let me send you off the stage. Isn't that better?" Bing Mian was so angry that he laughed. "Is that so? Then I'd like to see what kind of ability you have to send me off the stage." A pair of daggers appeared in Bing Mian's hands. A pair of daggers that looked like they were made out of ice. Wu Yan paused and he frowned. "Rare armament." Bing Mian sneered. "That's right. This is a rare armament. Don't say that I'm despicable. There's no rule against using armaments in the arena." Wu Yan laughed. "No, I won't say that you're despicable." Wu Yan looked around and laughed mockingly. "Your despicableness is already ingrained in everyone's heart. I don't need to say it." Bing Mian was furious. He spun the daggers in his hands and took a step forward, slashing towards Wu Yan's mouth. "Watch me tear your glib tongue apart." Wu Yan maintained his mocking smile as he watched Bing Mian coming towards him. He didn't move until Bing Mian was right in front of Wu Yan. Wu Yan stretched out his hand. The dagger slipped through Wu Yan's fingers and was caught by Wu Yan. Wu Yan grabbed Bing Mian's hand and used his other hand to slap Bing Mian's face. Slap. The slap landed on Bing Mian's face. Bing Mian was stunned by Wu Yan's slap. Everyone below the stage was stunned by what just happened. A slap to the face. It was a slap to the face. Bing Mian touched his cheek in disbelief. He could feel the pain at the corner of his mouth. Thick flames of anger surfaced on Bing Mian's face. Bastard! Bing Mian shouted angrily. He waved both daggers in front of his chest and slashed towards Wu Yan's hand. He didn't show any mercy. However, a hand suddenly appeared in front of the dagger and clamped the two daggers. Then the hand that Bing Mian was about to chop off swung again and slapped Bing Mian's face. Slap. Following the crisp sound of another slap, the two people on the stage came to a standstill. Everyone below the stage felt their hearts skip a beat at the same time. Chapter 323. Silence. A deathly silence. At this moment, no one on the 5th floor, which contained hundreds of people, made a sound. Everyone was stunned by the scene in front of them. No, not only the 5th floor but even below the 5th floor in the 4 spaces where millions of people were, no one made a sound. They stared blankly at the scene on the screen as if they were in a dream. Saito, the second young master of the Saito family, one of the 12 strongest forces in the Spalier world, one of the Spalier world's Ailu Empire's second young master, the second leader of the Sea of Icicles, ranked 25th. And now he was slapped in the face in front of all of them. And he was slapped in the face by a new student who entered the academy less than 2 days ago. The crisp sound of the slap seemed to have transcended time and space, echoing in everyone's ears. The scene is still fresh in their minds. When the students in the arena tower regained their senses, the first thought that came to their mind was that the Spalier World Academy will never be peaceful again. The people on the 5th floor and below had a completely different feeling. Forget about the future, they don't think they'll ever be able to calm down again. In the arena, one of them is still swinging his hand, the other is still leaning his cheek to the side. Both of them didn't move at all, telling everyone that what happened just now wasn't a dream. An oppressive atmosphere started to spread throughout the silent 5th floor, causing many people to break out in cold sweat. Some even had the urge to run away. On the other hand, the members of the Sea of Dense Ice were all silent. However, the battle aura and mana on each of their bodies were constantly rising. This was a sign that their hearts were not calm at all. Feifei's expression started to change. After a while she sighed. Even she doesn't know how to react to this situation. Chuju and Mikoto looked at each other. They didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Even they didn't expect things to turn out this way. However, there's a hint of satisfaction in their eyes. They've been displeased with Ice for a long time. If possible, they'd like to slap him too. As for which faction he's from, it's none of their business. Seeing the disbelief on Ice's face, Wu Yan finally made a move. He retracted his hand and swung it at Ice's face again. Ice finally reacted, his expression changed and he quickly dodged to the back. However, the moment he dodged, Wu Yan's hand moved to his chest. Wu Yan looked at the shocked Ice and smiled. Are you afraid? The second leader of the Sea of Icicles. Bing Mian paused and he slowly raised his head. He looked at Wu Yan with a pair of cold eyes. There was no anger in his eyes, there was no emotion, there was only an infinite amount of coldness. You're dead. Bing Mian spoke as if he's talking about something normal. It's as if he wasn't the one who was angered by Wu Yan just a moment ago. Bang! Bing Mian's dou qi, which was stronger than anyone else's, began to surge. His dou qi fluctuated violently on the surface of his body. That icy blue dou qi actually emitted traces of cold air, causing the surrounding atmosphere to turn into tiny ice shards. At the same time, a powerful aura surged out of Bing Mian's body. Bing Mian raised the dagger in his hand. His face was expressionless as he stared at Wu Yan. No one doubted that Bing Mian would charge forward in the next moment. Wu Yan didn't mind Bing Mian's powerful aura as he curled his lips. However, a glint flashed across his wine-red eyes. At a certain moment, a cold glint flashed across Bing Mian's eyes. He didn't say anything else as he stomped his foot on the ground. His body shot forward and in a flash he appeared on Wu Yan's left side. The dagger in his hand pierced towards Wu Yan's abdomen without hesitation. However, just as the dagger was about to pierce through Wu Yan's abdomen, a blue-white light flashed in front of Wu Yan's chest. After which, a finger-sized black metal piece appeared in front of the dagger. Clang! The dagger landed heavily on the black metal piece. However, it didn't pierce through as easily as Bing Mian had expected. This caused Bing Mian's face to turn serious. Swoosh. Suddenly Wu Yan stretched out his hand. With a flick of his finger, a tiny lightning bolt whizzed out from his fingertip like a storm and struck the black metal piece. Instantly, the metal piece transformed into a deadly hidden weapon and directly flew towards Bing Mian's face. Humph! Seeing that Wu Yan was still aiming for his face, Bing Mian didn't dare to be careless after his previous lesson. When he saw Wu Yan's attack, he snorted coldly. The dagger in his hand drew an arc of light, and like a light shield, it sent the metal piece flying. Swoosh! Bing Mian's dagger drew a sharp arc and pierced towards Wu Yan at lightning speed. Even some of the 7th stage practitioners wouldn't dare to face such a force head-on. Wu Yan lifted his head and looked at the ferocious dagger coming towards him. His eyes narrowed. Suddenly he stretched out his hand and slashed down. When the cold light of the dagger was reflected in Wu Yan's eyes, Wu Yan's hand had also slashed down. The force tore through the air and slashed towards Bing Mian's dagger. Instantly the scene of Wu Yan blocking the rare armament with his bare hands appeared in front of the crowd. Countless people's mouths were wide open and their jaws almost dropped to the ground. Ice dagger. A ferocious glint flashed across Bing Mian's eyes. His monstrous Dou Qi swept out in a frenzy. The dagger trembled and its size swelled up like Li Shi's fist. A rich blue light rapidly gathered at the dagger and actually condensed into a long ice dagger. Boom! Instantly the ice dagger swept across. Wu Yan frowned and quickly retreated a few steps. The ice dagger brushed past his eyes. The cold air from the dagger brushed against Wu Yan's face, causing Wu Yan to frown even more. His wine-red eyes narrowed and Wu Yan's body paused. This was a sign that Wu Yan was impatient. Hence, in the next second when the ice dagger brushed past his eyes, Wu Yan's body rushed forward. He clenched his hand into a fist and casually swung it to the side. Over there, one of the pair of ice daggers was passing by. Wu Yan's punch was as if he had predicted that the dagger would pass by. In the end, it created a situation where the dagger purposely delivered itself to his doorstep. After a soft sound, one of Bing Mian's daggers was sent flying off the stage by Wu Yan's punch. The situation changed so quickly that Bing Mian and the other students couldn't react in time. By the time they reacted, Bing Mian's dagger had already flown away. Fei Fei and the group of leaders sighed at the same time when they saw the situation and said softly, "Don't worry. Bing Mian is going to lose." Perhaps even Bing Mian could see that he was going to lose. He could no longer maintain his cold expression. Instead, it was replaced by a look of disbelief and complete madness. Damn it! Like a wounded beast, Bing Mian's remaining dagger went straight for Wu Yan's chest. However, this action didn't elicit surprise, it elicited pity from Wu Yan. In the blink of an eye, Bing Mian's remaining dagger disappeared from his hand. It followed Bing Mian's footsteps and flew out of the arena. The moment the dagger flew away, Bing Mian's pupils shrunk to the size of a needle. That's because Wu Yan's fist is getting bigger and bigger in front of him. Suddenly, a strong gust of wind blew by. A figure flitted past the students below the stage and leaped onto the stage, appearing beside Wu Yan. Chapter 324. How could Wu Yan not notice a living person appearing right next to him? Wu Yan had already noticed the figure when it was flying through the air. However, the figure had appeared too suddenly and Wu Yan's reaction was a little slow. By the time the figure appeared right next to him, Wu Yan had already reacted. However, before Wu Yan could react, the owner of the figure threw a punch at Wu Yan's face. This was the scene that unfolded in the arena. Bing Mian's body was slightly tilted back. His pupils were still constricting violently. The image of Wu Yan's fist was still reflected in his eyes. Wu Yan stood in front of Bing Mian and threw a punch at his face. Meanwhile, the figure threw a punch at Wu Yan, forming a triangular encirclement. Therefore, the crowd of students who saw this scene could not help but cry out in surprise. Clearly, they did not expect that there would actually be someone who would directly go up on stage to disrupt the situation. Furthermore, he had even made a move. Watch out! Chuju, Mikoto and Fei Fei couldn't help but be shocked. They really hadn't expected that someone would openly attack a person who was in the middle of a duel in the Tower of Tournament. Even Wu Yan's wine-red eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. However, he didn't retreat. Anger flashed across his eyes. The fist that was aimed at Bing Mian actually drew an arc and miraculously appeared right in front of his opponent's fist. This was the secret of the infinite martial refinement. Body and skill as one. No matter what the situation was, one would be able to unleash perfect combat strength. Retracting and changing the direction of one's attack was something that Wu Yan, who possessed the infinite martial refinement, could easily do. In an instant, fist against fist, the two fists fiercely hit each other. Boom! A strong gust of wind blew from the two fists that collided. The whistling wind swept across the entire arena. Then, like a storm, the wind swept out from the arena and attacked in all directions. Many people could not help but raise their hands to protect their faces from the strong wind. A cold light flashed in his wine-red eyes. From this punch, Wu Yan could sense that his opponent was definitely a strong person. He was much stronger than Bing Mian. In fact, he wasn't much weaker than Fei Fei. However, since his opponent had publicly come up to the arena to throw a wrench in the process and even attacked him, there was no need for him to hold back. Immediately, Wu Yan gathered the strength in his body and gathered it into his fist. Bang! An even stronger wind blew from the confrontation between the two fists. His opponent's fist was retreating. It was obvious that his strength was inferior to Wu Yan's. Bang! Following Wu Yan's exertion of strength, the sound of a heavy blow rang out. The figure was forced back a dozen steps by Wu Yan's powerful blow. He half knelt on the other side of the arena. Under everyone's gaze, the person seemed to be numb. He gently clenched his fist and a serious look flashed across his eyes. What a strong body. At this moment, the referee glanced at the person and said indifferently, "Due to the interference of a third party in this duel, I declare that Bing Mian has lost the right to fight. The winner of this duel is Wu Yan." As the winner's ranking is lower than the loser's, the new special student, Wu Yan, obtains the loser's ranking, Bing Mian. He is ranked 25th. The referee's voice rang out in the 5th level, which had quieted down due to the sudden turn of events. Many people who were still in a daze woke up. At the same time, it triggered a notification from the system. Ding! Congratulations to the user for defeating the 25th ranker of Silveria World Institute and obtaining the 25th ranker's ranking. Successfully ascending to the top 30. Obtained 80,000 equipment points and item points, 40,000 ability points and summoning points. Ding! Congratulations to the user for leveling up. Current level, 68. The system notification and the referee's announcement rang in Wu Yan's ears along with the level-up notification that he hadn't heard for a long time. However, at this moment Wu Yan didn't pay too much attention to the two noises. Instead he looked at the figure that appeared out of nowhere. Who are you?" The person slowly stood up from the ground and the figure was finally seen clearly by everyone. However, when they saw the owner of the figure, many of them were shocked. Among them, Bing Mian was the most surprised. When he saw the newcomer, Bing Mian was surprised. Then he was pleasantly surprised, revealing a very obvious look of joy. "Big brother." "Big brother?" Wu Yan frowned. His wine-red eyes focused on the person who came. He activated the system and a light flashed. "Bingling." "Saito, level 68. Wu Yan's furrowed brow loosened up. "Since he called you Big Brother, then you must be the true leader of the Sea of Thick Ice, the young master of the Saito family." The person who came was Bing Mian's big brother, Bing Ling. He glanced at the surprised Bing Mian and said calmly, "I'm not the young master, but I am in charge of the Sea of Thick Ice." Wu Yan smiled. Then his expression turned cold. "Then as the leader of the Sea of Thick Ice, can you tell me why you are interfering with my duel with your brother?" Bing Ling laughed when he heard Wu Yan's words. "You said it yourself. He's my brother. Since he's my brother, why would I let him get hurt?" Wu Yan laughed and shook his head. His laughter was getting louder and louder. However, it made Bing Ling's expression darken. It was obvious that he was mocking Bing Ling. "What's so funny?" "It's funny. Of course it's funny." Wu Yan took a deep breath and said to Bing Ling, "Saving your brother? What a reasonable excuse. If you didn't punch me, then it would be even more reasonable, right?" Bing Ling's eyes flickered, but he didn't say anything. Everyone saw how he attacked Wu Yan. What else could he say? At this time, Fei Fei came up with Hinajiku and Mikoto. She glanced at Bing Ling and said in a low voice, "Bing Ling, Aren't you afraid that the Academy will punish you for interfering with other people's duels? The ice spirit smiled carelessly and looked at the referee on the other side who was looking at her and said, "No one is injured, right? According to the rules of the Tower of Arena, if no one is hurt, then I will have to deduct 100,000 credits. Bing Ling can still afford it." After saying that, Bing Ling took out his record card and threw it to the judge. But this action angered Hinajiku and Mikoto. Sparks appeared on Mikoto's forehead. "That's scary. Miss, you seem to be a very rare lightning magician. Why don't you consider joining my Sea of Ice? I can give you the best conditions." The blue and white lightning flashed even more frequently. Mikoto was furious and wanted to go forward, but Wu Yen stopped her. Wu Yen pulled Mikoto behind him and looked at Bing Ling. He then looked at Bing Ling and said, "You're quite impressive. Your family is indeed extraordinary. However, how many 100,000 yuan do you have that you can deduct from? Don't tell me you want to interfere with my duel." Bing Ling smiled. "My goal is to save my brother. Since I've achieved my goal, I won't interfere with your duel." Wu Yen chuckled and he gestured at the ice with his lips. "If that's the case, why don't you take that piece of trash away?" "What did you say?" Bing Mikoto's eyes flashed fiercely. He wanted to attack, but Bing Ling stopped him. Bing Ling said to Wu Yen with a dark face, "As the loser, my brother doesn't have the right to stay in the arena." "But," Bing Ling narrowed his eyes and said, "no matter what, he's still my brother. If I don't help him, then it's not right. Do you accept my challenge?" Chapter 325. Will you accept my challenge? This sentence immediately caused an uproar among the various forces who had been watching the battle. At the same time, many warmongers were excited. "Brother!" Bing Mian shouted. He wanted to say something, but Bing Ling raised his hand and cut him off. He stared straight at Wu Yen, telling everyone that he was serious. Wu Yen was satisfied with Bing Ling's words. It would be best if he could fight. Otherwise, he wouldn't know who to vent his anger on. But before Wu Yen could agree, Fei Fei whispered into Wu Yan's ear, "Be careful, Bing Ling isn't someone like Bing Mian. Even though they're both level 7, Bing Ling is ranked 9th in the top 10. Wu Yen didn't show any signs of worry when he heard that. Instead, he laughed. "Rank 9? 9 is good. 9 is a good number. That's undeniable." Mikoto reached out and pulled on Wu Yan's sleeve. She's a bit annoyed, but she's also a bit eager. "Yen, why don't you let me do it?" Wu Yen flinched and he shook his head without hesitation. What a joke! If this violent cis cannon goes up on stage, who knows when the audience would be electrocuted by her indiscriminate electrocution. When that happens, it would be fun to play around with. Of course, Wu Yen shook his head without hesitation. She almost lost it. "Why, let me fight one round, just one round." "All right, Mikoto, stop messing around." Hinajiku hurriedly pulled Mikoto off the stage. "None of those people are your match. Why are you joining in the fun?" Mikoto struggled, but to no avail. She had no choice but to be dragged off the stage by Hinajiku. Wu Yan's mouth twitched at the dissatisfaction on her face. Duels and whatnot are only second to Gutta in terms of attractiveness. Bing Ling's gaze followed the girls as they walked down the stage. When everyone left the stage, he looked at Wu Yan with a smile and he repeated the same thing once more. "Will you accept my challenge?" Wu Yan grinned and he nodded in front of everyone's different expressions. This made the spectating students even more excited. Is the top 10 in Spalier World Academy stronger? Or was this newcomer who had become famous in less than 2 days stronger? Everyone couldn't help but be attracted by such a gimmick. Bing Mian returned to the front of the Sea of Ice. His face was dark. Losing to Wu Yan was a big blow to him. Bing Mian clenched his fist as he looked at Wu Yan. He said in a voice that only he could hear, "Wait for me to use my trump card. You can go to hell then." It was a pity that the so-called backup plan was in Bing Mian's body at this moment. The judge slowly stepped forward and glanced at the two people on the field. After a while, he waved his hand and a calm voice was heard under the expectant gazes of the crowd. "Begin." The atmosphere of the entire place exploded at this moment. The referee's indifferent voice was like a spark that ignited a bomb, completely breaking the tense atmosphere in the arena. Boom. On the battlefield, the first to attack was the ice spirit. An icy blue Dou Qi burst out from his body and his figure turned into a blurry shadow as he charged towards Wu Yan with lightning speed. Wu Yan was surprised by Bing Ling's speed and decisiveness. His eyes became serious. Bing Ling's speed was not something Bing Mian could compare to. He covered the short distance of 10 meters in the blink of an eye. The crowd saw the blurry shadow enter Wu Yan's body. Fei Fei and the others were worried for Wu Yan. When Bing Ling was 3 meters away from him, Wu Yan finally made his move. Wu Yan's feet flashed with lightning. He quickly moved back a few steps and put some distance between him and Bing Ling. This performance caused many people to stand up and cry out in surprise. Lightning element magic. Everyone couldn't help but cry out in shock. It was common knowledge in Silveria that combat aura and mana couldn't coexist. Even the commoners knew this, let alone the geniuses from all over the world. Wu Yan, on the other hand, has been using melee combat since the start of the fight. He's obviously a warrior. But now he's surrounded by lightning. Did the newbie break the world's knowledge? At this moment, it was the 8th rank referee who muttered to himself, "It shouldn't be lightning magic. Dou Qi and magic definitely can't coexist." Hearing that, Fei Fei could not help but ask, "Then what's with the lightning on Yan's body?" The judge said, "That newbie might have used a Dou Qi technique similar to the Saito family's Ice Dou Qi. The Saito family's Ice Dou Qi has the ability to create ice. That kid should have used a similar lightning element Dou Qi. He really hit it well." Everyone understood after hearing the judge's explanation. They didn't notice that Chuju and Mikoto's faces were red. They were trying to hold back their laughter. Bing Ling on the stage and Bing Mian below the stage naturally heard the referee's explanation as well. Both of them had different expressions on their faces. Bing Ling's expression was grave, while Bing Mian's expression was one of resentment and unwillingness. After all, this proves that Wu Yan didn't use his full strength when he fought with Bing Ling. On the stage, Bing Ling took Wu Yan seriously when he saw that Bing Ling was able to pull away from him. He wasn't Bing Mian. As one of the top 10 rankers, he wouldn't make the mistake of underestimating his opponent. Bing Ling clenched his fist and a pair of daggers similar to Bing Mian's appeared in his hands. Wu Yan's eyes narrowed when he saw this. He waved his hand and the Xianxia appeared in his hand. Wu Yan didn't dare to deal with Bing Ling like how he dealt with Bing Mian. He didn't dare to deal with Bing Ling as leisurely as he did with Bing Mian. As the two of them took out their armaments, the atmosphere in the arena reached a climax. Everyone was focused on the battle, afraid that they would miss out on an exciting battle. At a certain point, Bing Ling floated up and he thrust his daggers at Wu Yan with lightning-like speed. Ding! Bing Ling's daggers stabbed the Xianxia that had just passed under Wu Yan. Sparks flew and a strong force was released from the daggers, pushing the Xianxia down. Bing Ling grinned when the daggers hit the Xianxia. He bent his arms and applied some force to the Xianxia. He somersaulted in the air and kicked off with both feet. His body shot towards Wu Yan's neck like an eagle hunting its prey. The pair of sharp daggers in his hands brought with it a chilling wind that would make one's skin crawl. Wu Yan felt goosebumps all over his body. Wu Yan raised his eyebrows in the face of Bing Ling's sudden change in attack. Lightning flashed under his feet again and he retreated a few steps. He casually raised the Xianxia from the bottom and blocked Bing Ling's daggers. From this, it can be seen that Bing Ling's infinite martial refinement is worthy of the word unparalleled. Bing Ling was surprised that his attack failed. He twisted his body in the air like a fish in water. He stuck close to Wu Yan's body and flew behind Wu Yan. Wu Yan put away his sword and looked up. At the same time, Bing Ling landed on the ground and stood not far in front of Wu Yan. Wu Yan's heart started to burn as he looked at Bing Ling. Is this the strength of the top 10 students in the Spalier World Academy? Finally, I can get serious. Chapter 326. 5th level of the Tower of Arena. Everyone's expression was a little dazed as they watched the two people in the arena. Some of them even showed signs of their eyes popping out of their sockets. This exchange between the two did not last for long. It had only lasted for an instant. However, it was extremely dangerous. If either party made the slightest mistake, the long blade and the dagger would cause the other party to suffer serious injuries. Most of the people in the audience seats were unable to see the degree of danger involved. In their eyes, they could only see the two figures swiftly crossing each other in this exchange between Wu Yan and Bing Ling. Immediately, one of them leaped into the air and landed on the ground an instant later, once again forming a face-off situation. Of course, the special students below the arena clearly saw this exchange. A wave of exclamations involuntarily sounded when the two of them separated. On the arena, Bing Ling gently rubbed the two daggers in his hands. His gaze was somewhat grave as he looked at Wu Yan. In the previous lightning-quick exchange, the latter's extremely rich combat experience and godlike fighting skills had not allowed him to gain the slightest advantage. Bing Ling's eyes flickered as a thought rapidly spun in his mind. The other party's speed and combat experience are above mine. I am definitely at a disadvantage in close combat. The only area where I can beat him is Ice-type Do Qi. In that case, I will use the characteristics of ice to suppress him. Bing Ling's body suddenly trembled as this thought fell. Immediately, a wave of icy blue Do Qi that contained a cold air suddenly surged out from Bing Ling's body. The Do Qi lingered around his body. The icy blue Do Qi was extremely gorgeous. It appeared to be showing off, but its strength was not something that anyone dared to underestimate. Wu Yan raised his eyebrows. The ice palace cover in his hand was gently raised. He was very curious to see what kind of action this Bing Ling would do that would surprise him. Suddenly, the icy blue Do Qi on Bing Ling's body turned into streams of cold air. They left his body and floated above the entire arena, forming streaks of blue light. As the Do Qi continued to surge out from Bing Ling's body, a special pressure was formed from those streams of light. Immediately, it covered half of the arena. Seeing this scene, Bing Mian was pleasantly surprised. He also had ice Do Qi. How could Bing Mian not know what was going on? The oppressive feeling that enveloped the fighting arena was not an ordinary aura. Under this oppressive feeling, regardless of whether it was speed or Do Qi recovery speed, they would all be reduced a little. This was the most unique move of the Saito family's ice combat force. Even Bing Mian himself had yet to learn it. Of course, this kind of pressure didn't have much effect on Wu Yan. His speed might be affected, but his Do Qi recovery speed had nothing to do with Wu Yan. It's just that others can't see it. No matter how powerful you are, under this pressure you will be somewhat affected. At the very least, you shouldn't be able to use the speed you did just now. Looking at Wu Yan, who was at the center of the pressure, Bing Ling could not help but laugh. At this time, Wu Yan also felt the effects of the pressure on his body. He couldn't help but frown as he lamented in his heart. As expected of a character ranked in the top 10. If he didn't have any special abilities, how could he suppress those students who were also at the 7th step? Wu Yan glanced at the numerous blue streaks of light. He used Nian Den Shana to slash at one of the streaks of light that passed by. However, it passed right through it as if he was slashing at air. At this time, Bing Ling made his move. The tip of Bing Ling's feet touched the ground, and with a swoosh sound he instantly closed in on Wu Yan. Bing Ling did not hesitate when he saw Wu Yan in front of him. His arms shook rapidly and his daggers were like two cold vipers. They drew a series of afterimages in the air and condensed into dots of icy light. Then he viciously stabbed at Wu Yan's body. It had to be said that Bing Ling's timing was really good. If it had been anyone else, they would have been seriously injured while their speed was affected. Unfortunately, Bing Ling was facing Wu Yan, who had the infinite martial refinement. Ding, ding, ding. With the help of the infinite martial refinement, Wu Yan moved nimbly in a small area. Wu Yan waved the ice palace Shana in his hand like a shield, protecting his entire body behind it. The countless dagger afterimages that came piercing over continuously pierced the dark hall Shana. Many clear, dang, sounds resounded in this space like a strange musical note. Wu Yan gripped Niamoto no Shana tightly. The veins on his arms bulged. The dagger looked light, but when it landed on Niamoto no Shana, it felt like a block of ice. If true ancestor didn't have such a strong physique, Niamoto no Shana would have been sent flying by the attack. Coupled with the opponent's concentrated attacks, even with Wu Yan's strength, he found it a little difficult to deal with. Fortunately, such a concentrated attack also consumed a lot of Bing Ling's energy. This storm-like attack lasted for about a minute before it finally slowed down. After a while, the afterimages of the daggers suddenly disappeared, and the pressure on the Ice Palace Shana was also reduced. Wu Yan's eyes narrowed. The Ice Palace Shana was swung horizontally, forcing Bingling back. Wu Yan took a few steps back and looked at the panting Bingling, feeling a little helpless. This fellow does indeed have some ability. Slowly exhaling, Wu Yan glanced at Bingling. After the exchange, he had gained a little understanding of Bingling's fighting methods. Bingling's gaze was a little heavy as he stared at Wu Yan. He could not help but feel a headache when he saw that the latter did not show any signs of panting. If this continued, he would be the one to fall in the end. No, he could not engage in a battle of attrition. He had to end it quickly. Suddenly, Bingling extended both of her hands. She moved her hands and an even denser ice blue dou qi surged out from within her body. After which it wrapped around her entire body. The ice blue dou qi continued to spread. Finally, it condensed into a huge dou qi ball. Moreover, the dou qi ball was contracting and expanding rhythmically as if it was brewing something. Seeing this strange scene, Wu Yan could not help but raise his heart. He did not want to be defeated because he had underestimated his opponent. Thoughts rapidly circulated in Wu Yan's mind. Should he bring out his true strength? That's right. Wu Yan had not used his full strength yet. From the beginning to the end, Wu Yan had only relied on the magical skill of infinite martial refinement to combine with the true ancestor's physical ability to fight the challengers. Without mentioning anything else, Wu Yan had not fully utilized the electric user's ability. He had only used the electric user's ability to provide some support. It could not be said that he had used his full strength. Otherwise, with Bingling's strength, which was slightly weaker than Feifei, how could he have fought Wu Yan for so long? Don't forget, before this, Wu Yan had the ability to fight Feifei to a draw, let alone now that he had the true ancestor's bloodline and infinite martial refinement. Moreover, his level had risen quite a bit since his duel with Feifei. Now that Wu Yan had completely familiarized himself with infinite martial refinement and understood its power, there was no need to hold back anymore. At that moment, the lightning on Wu Yan's forehead began to flicker, and his aura began to rise. At the same time, Wu Yan's wine-red eyes began to turn slightly, and then they turned gold. However, this gold color only lasted for a moment before it disappeared. Wu Yan's eyes returned to their wine-red color, and even the lightning on his forehead disappeared. It's not because Wu Yan is weak, it's because there's a figure standing between him and Bingling, a figure that wasn't there before. Looking at the figure, Wu Yan could not help but sigh, and a trace of dissatisfaction flashed in his eyes. He did not know whether to laugh or cry. Another troublemaker. Chapter 327. The ice blue light that filled the arena due to Bingling's ice dou qi seemed to have seen something terrifying when this figure came in between Wu Yan and Bingling. Even the speed of the light slowed down by more than a percentage point. The pressure on the opponent also weakened by more than a notch. The effect on the opponent was reduced to a negligible level. At least that's what Wu Yan felt. This phenomenon shocked Wu Yan. He knew that the reason the ice blue light was suppressed to this extent was because of the figure that came in between him and Bingling. That figure seemed to have brought the entire world of ice and snow with her. She was dressed in a special student uniform with a white coat with golden edges. A luxurious hairband decorated with specks of golden ice crystals was tied around her long blue hair that flowed down like a waterfall. She looked as if she was wearing an ice crystal crown, extremely noble and elegant. Under that long icy blue hair was a face that could be called peerless in the world. It was as noble and cold as a snow lotus. Her snow-white skin, under the reflection of her long icy blue hair, was as white as snow. If one had to find a flaw on this face, it would be that on such a beautiful face there was no smile. Not to mention a smile, even the slightest bit of emotion could not be found. There was only coldness, an extreme coldness that was enough to freeze all emotions. Gorgeous. It also exuded an icy beauty. The appearance of the beautiful figure did not only bring about the stagnation of the ice-blue flowing light in the arena, it also brought about a collective stupor for everyone in the arena, as well as the students below the 5th floor, including the girls. Wu Yan is one of the members of the Demented Guild. Of course, the reason why Wu Yan was stunned was different from the other students. The other students were stunned because of the girl's beauty. Wu Yan was stunned because of the information he received from the system. Sylph? Ailu, level 72. Level 72. She's a rank 8 powerhouse. Wu Yan's pupils shrunk as he felt a bit of shock in his heart. How could he not be shocked? From the uniform she was wearing, it could be seen that she was a student. A student's identity could be deciphered quite a bit of information. For example, this girl was not yet 25 years old. A rank 8 powerhouse under 25 years old. Lightly exhaling as if he wanted to vent out all the shock in his heart, he looked at this beautiful girl who is as cold as an ice mountain and bitterly smiled inside. True geniuses still exist. Seems like I underestimated Silveria. I thought I was at the highest level among my peers. Who would have thought that there would always be someone better than me in this world? Well, it seems like I'm right here. After smiling bitterly, Wu Yan felt relieved. The Spalier World Academy is a gathering place for all the geniuses in the Spalier world. It's not strange to have a genius like her. He just doesn't know how many geniuses there are in the Spalier World Academy. Wu Yan glanced at Bing Ling on the other side of the iceberg girl and he laughed in a weird manner. Well, at least there won't be more than 9 of them. Wu Yan, who's letting his imagination run wild, didn't notice that the iceberg beauty who came out of nowhere is also looking at him. Her eyes that will never thaw froze for less than 0.1 seconds for a split second. It was probably because this was the first time she saw someone who didn't stare at her when they saw her. Of course, Ice Maiden didn't know that Hinajiku and Mikoto were slightly younger than her in terms of looks, but Ikaros, Astria, and Shokuhu Misaki didn't lose out to her in terms of looks. Wu Yan, who had already eaten 2 of them, naturally his appetite grew. At the very least, if she wanted to use her looks to make Wu Yan lose his composure, she might have been able to do so in the past, but now it's hard to do so. Of course, Wu Yan's performance was only enough to make the girl give him a sidelong glance. Compared to Wu Yan, Bing Ling's reaction was a lot worse. He looked at the girl in a daze. The dou-qi that Bing Ling had just condensed around his body started dispersing into the air along with his master's dazed state. After some time, Chuju, Mikoto and Feifei were the first to react. Feifei cried out in shock. Princess Sylph. The mention of Princess Sylph brought everyone back to their senses. However, after they were called back, a series of screams followed. Princess. Wu Yan's eyebrows twitched when he heard this. When he saw the surname Ailu, which is the same as the Ailu Empire's surname, he guessed that this guy is a member of the royal family. Princess Sylph. Bing Ling couldn't help but lower his head in embarrassment. After all, this wasn't the first time he met Princess Sylph. It's just that every time they meet, he would always behave in this manner. This caused him to feel embarrassed and angry at himself for behaving in such a manner. She's a princess? Mikoto pointed at Princess Sylph with an expression as if she was deceived by the world. It's obvious that the word princess had a huge impact on her. They are both princesses after all. It's just that one is Tokuwadai Middle School's electric princess. The other is Ailu Empire's ice princess. Both of them are princesses, but the difference is huge. At the very least, Mikoto's carefree personality has nothing to do with being a princess. She is indeed beautiful, princess. Chuju has already categorized the word beautiful and princess in her mind. Princess Sylph's icy blue eyes widened. Her expression was as cold as ice. After a while, she spoke with a heavenly voice. The duel ends here. Huh? Quite a number of people started making confused noises. Even Wu Yan and Bing Ling, who are still in the arena, looked confused. Bing Ling wanted to say something, but he was interrupted by a frowning Wu Yan. Why? Wu Yan frowned as he looked at Princess Sylph. He doesn't seem to know her. She doesn't seem to be close to Bing Ling either. What reason does she have to stop the duel? Sylph turned her head and looked at Wu Yan. Then she turned back to Bing Ling. Your opinion? Bing Ling panicked as if he encountered a difficult situation. It seems like Sylph's words and his duel with Wu Yan are on the same page. Wu Yan's mouth twitched. After a while, Bing Ling sighed helplessly. Since it's Princess Sylph's opinion, I have no objections. Sylph turned her head and looked at the referee as if she had expected this. Under everyone's shocked gaze, the referee shrugged nonchalantly. Since that's the case, let's end this duel here. Wu Yan gaped at the judge. He couldn't help but flip the 12 tables in his mind. What's going on? Even if you're biased, you can't be so biased. You're the referee. Where's my opinion? Sylph seemed to have seen through Wu Yan's thoughts. She turned around and spoke with a calm voice. If you really want to duel, wait until the Academy event. Wu Yan flinched when he heard this. He couldn't stay calm anymore. Isn't the game the only event? Is the Academy having an event as well? Chapter 328. Just like that, an exceptionally exciting battle ended hastily with the interference of the second person. This made all the students who had been looking forward to it feel a little disappointed. Of course, if the person who stopped the duel wasn't Princess Sylph, the students wouldn't just be disappointed. They might even have the urge to throw beer bottles at her. No, not everyone was disappointed. Wu Yan wanted to throw a beer bottle at Princess Sylph's head. It wasn't easy to find a worthy opponent. Even his ranking was very high. If he could defeat him, he would be able to complete the fight for a ranking mission. He would also be able to gain a lot of points. Now that the duel ended abruptly, it's as if his points grew wings and flew away. Wu Yan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. If his opponent wasn't a cute girl. Character. Wu Yan ability. True Ancestor Bloodline, Infinite Arms, Electromancer, LV5. Equipment. Shauna the Emperor C rank. Dragon Armor C rank. Meteor Shower B rank. Summons. Misaka Mikoto Gui Chuju Ikaros. Astria Flandra. Scarlet Shokuhu Misaki Kinuhada Sai. Frenda. Takitsubu Riku Misaka Sister. 20,000. Equipment points. 481000 item points. 660000 ability points. 181000 summoning points. 350000 level. 68. It wasn't until he saw that his character status had increased by quite a bit that his gloomy mood eased up a little. Whatever, it's just going to be the same when that event starts anyway. Wu Yan looked at Sylph and asked. Your Highness, why did you stop my duel? Sylph turned silent with her back facing Wu Yan. Wu Yan thought Sylph was trying to think of something to say. Who would have thought that Sylph would walk away from the arena? Wu Yan raised an eyebrow. He felt like he was being trampled by a million alpacas. Seeing how Princess Sylph ignored him, Wu Yan had the urge to push her down and spank her ass. After taking a few deep breaths, Wu Yan told himself not to be calculative with a woman. He mumbled to himself as he walked off the stage. On the other hand, Mikoto and Sylph, who had already reached the bottom of the stage, both of them stopped at the same time. Everyone looked at the two women who were behaving strangely. Countless question marks appeared on their heads. It was obvious that they were confused again. Suddenly Sylph said, "You are very strong." Everyone was stunned when they heard Sylph's words. When they regained their senses, their hearts were filled with shock. No matter how dumb they are, they finally understood that the new special student who came with Wu Yan has been acknowledged by Princess Sylph. Inside the arena tower, the way the students look at Mikoto has completely changed. There's awe, shock, and even longing in their eyes. Wu Yan was surprised by their reaction. He looked at Sylph with suspicion. Does this Ailu princess have a dark history? Mikoto, on the other hand, wasn't surprised by Sylph's words. She tilted her head and her eyes flashed with battle intent. "You're pretty strong too. Do you want to duel me?" Mikoto asked with an excited tone. "You're pretty strong too." That one sentence caused an uproar among the students on the 5th floor. Is there going to be a battle that will surpass all previous battles? Sylph shook her head at Mikoto's words and walked towards the teleportation circle. Her voice echoed in everyone's ears. "Right, let's go. You will have your chance." Hearing this, everyone's expression was different. But there was one thing that couldn't be changed, and that was, Mikoto had become the center of attention. What? Mikoto pursed her lips in disappointment and dissatisfaction. She crossed her arms and said something that made Wu Yan and Chuju not know whether to laugh or cry. "It's not like you're going to die from a fight." Chuju rolled her eyes at Mikoto. She then said in a serious tone. "However, that Princess Sylph is strong." Hearing that, Fei couldn't help but laugh. She then said something that would shock people to death. "How can she not be strong? Princess Sylph is number 1 on the ranking list." Number 1. Chuju and Mikoto were shocked. Even Wu Yan was shocked. Number 1 on the ranking list? That means. That's right. Fei Fei nodded solemnly. She looked at Sylph's back as she walked towards the teleportation formation. Fei Fei spoke in a solemn tone. Princess Sylph is the strongest student in the entire Spalier World Academy. Wu Yan, Chuju, and Mikoto lowered their heads and looked at Sylph until she disappeared into the teleportation formation. The strongest. Mikoto muttered. Then a blue and white electric current flashed in front of her forehead. Her mouth pulled up into a smile. Her brown eyes were filled with excitement. Wu Yan looked at Mikoto and recalled the image of the Ice Snow Princess. His lips also curled into a faint smile. Things are getting more and more interesting. Chuju helplessly facepalmed after seeing Wu Yan and Mikoto's reaction. Fei Fei smiled and said with a headache. 2 problem children. At this time Bing Ling brought Bing Mian and the people from Sea of Dense Ice over. There are also people from the other 7 factions. Fei Fei frowned when she saw this. She wanted to say something but Wu Yan stopped her. Wu Yan and Bing Ling looked at each other. After a while Bing Ling said. Since Princess Sylph has interfered, I will not interfere. I'm sure the others will do the same. Let's leave our duel for the student event. Wu Yan shrugged when he heard this. He looked at the people from the other factions and sighed. As expected, the words of a beautiful woman are so effective. They won't bother me anymore. Bing Ling continued. Of course, a duel is a duel. I still want to ask you, do you want to join Sea of Dense Ice? Big brother. Bing Mian couldn't help but call out. Bing Ling glared at him and he shut up. The other faction's leaders were shocked and started to get anxious. They recognized Wu Yan's strength. He can definitely be ranked in the top 10. Which faction wouldn't want such a person? The other faction's leaders wanted to extend an invitation but Wu Yan beat them to it. Wu Yan looked at the leaders of the various factions and he grinned. I still stand by my words. If you can defeat me, I will join you. Wu Yan's words made the leaders realize that they can't just rely on their mouths. The other special students that followed him probably felt the same way as well. Thinking of this, the leaders didn't say anything. After all, Wu Yan's identity is no longer as simple as a new special student. None of them dared to look down on Wu Yan. Naturally, they wouldn't ignore his words. They exchanged some pleasantries and left. Only Wu Yan, Chuju, Mikoto, Fei Fei and the people from Deadly Forest were left. Wu Yan looked at Fei Fei and said, Fei Fei, what is this school activity? Fei Fei pondered for a moment before saying, to put it simply, the academy will hold 3 activities every year to promote the progress of the students. As long as you participate in these activities and meet the requirements of the activities, you will be able to receive rewards from the academy, such as academic credits or precious treasures. And this year, there is an activity called the School Tournament. School Tournament. Wu Yan, Hinajiku and Mikoto looked at each other and they all grinned. Chapter 329. A lively day at Spalier World Academy came to an end just like that. Students continuously walked out of the entrance of the arena tower. At this moment the sky had already darkened slightly. People were walking in groups of 2 or 3 as they chatted enthusiastically about the events that had happened in the arena tower. Wu Yan's achievements alone are enough to make him the hottest topic in Spalier World Academy. Defeating all the challengers, defeating the second leader of Sea of Icicles, fighting with the first leader of Sea of Icicles. And finally, Princess Sylph, the strongest student in the academy. Of course, the most important thing was still the news of the new special student joining the faction. And now the results were out. None of the forces had succeeded. However, there was another group of people who had a different opinion. They believed that with the current situation, the new special students would most likely join the Deadly Forest. After all, they have a good relationship with each other. In the end, the question of joining a faction got an answer that doesn't really count as an answer. But for Wu Yan, today's day was worth it. Not only did he get a lot of points, but he also got close to 300,000 academic credits. This is a sum of credits not inferior to the mission reward. That's why Wu Yan's smile didn't stop on the way back to his villa. It's already good enough that he got so many points in one day. However, when Wu Yan pushed open the door to his villa, he couldn't bring himself to smile. Instead, he was stunned. Big brother. It's not a surprise that someone is calling him Onii-chan. Flandre-chan has always been calling him Onii-chan. However, when she called him Onii-chan twice, he couldn't help but be surprised. Yes, twice. Needless to say, it's Flandre-chan. As for the other one, it's also someone he knows. She's wearing a white uniform with golden edges. She has long golden hair and a small figure. It's Liren. Liren. Hinajuku and Mikoto squealed in surprise. Liren, who hasn't been around for a long time, is now playing around with Flandre-chan in Wu Yan's villa. How can the two girls not be surprised? Chuju Jejia. Mikoto Jejia. Little Liren couldn't help but cheer as she threw herself into Hinajuku's embrace. She smiled happily as she rubbed her face against Hinajuku's small chest. It's obvious that little Liren also missed everyone quite a bit. Hinajuku stroked Liren's soft golden hair and couldn't help but smile. It's great to see you so energetic. Little Liren kept nodding her little head, revealing a big smile, telling everyone that she was living a good life, and also making everyone laugh. Looking at Flandre-chan's uniform, Wu Yan was a little surprised. He smiled and said, "Little girl, I didn't expect you to be a special student as well. Looks like you have a lot of potential. If Uncle Gray knew how much potential you have, he would be very happy." Liren puffed up her chest and said proudly, "Of course, Liren is also very strong." Feifi Jejia and Lulu Jejia also said that Liren is very strong. Mikoto smiled and asked, "All right, Liren, where do you live now? Do you live alone?" Hinajuku also looked at Liren. Special students can get their own villa, and since Liren is a special student, she should get one as well. But to say that she lives alone, they don't believe it. After all, Liren isn't independent yet, and this isn't Academy City. As expected, Liren shook her head and said, "I live with Lulu Jejia and Feifei Jejia. I also joined Feifei Jejia and Lulu Jejia's deadly forest." "I see." Wu Yan and the others understood. Liren turned her head and looked behind Wu Yan, Mikoto and Chuju. She looked around as if she was looking for something. Where's Sylph Jejia? Why didn't she come back with everyone?" Wu Yan, Chuju and Mikoto were stunned when they heard Liren call her Sylph Jejia. "Sylph Jejia?" Wu Yan looked at Liren and asked, "Little girl, did you just say Sylph Jejia?" "Yes." Liren nodded when she heard Wu Yan. She tilted her head and asked, "Big brother, you don't know Sylph Jejia? Didn't Sylph Jejia help me look for you?" "Look for us?" Wu Yan, Chuju and Mikoto looked at each other. Wu Yan took 2 steps forward and asked, "You said she was looking for us? Could it be that you sent Princess Sylph to us?" Liren nodded and smiled. "What? Big brother and big sister know Sylph Jejia? Seems like she really did help me look for you. That's great." "Great? Not at all." Wu Yan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He finally understood why Princess Sylph, the strongest student in the group, would stop his duel with Bing Ling. It turned out that the culprit was this little Li Lin. Wu Yan looked at Liren helplessly. "Little girl, why did you ask Princess Sylph to look for us?" Hearing this, little Li Lin was stunned for a moment. She then said something that made everyone almost spit out their rice. "Huh. Big brother, I thought you were being bullied?" Wu Yan couldn't help but roll his eyes as he looked at Flandre-chan in an annoyed manner. "Who told you I was being bullied?" Little Li Lin was stunned for a moment and raised her hand weakly. "That's what everyone said." "Everyone?" "It's everyone from the deadly forest." Liren lifted her head from Chuju's embrace and knocked on her head as if she was trying to recall something. "Everyone in Deadly Forest said that you're going to fight with a lot of people and you're going to be taught a lesson. That's why I asked Sister Sylph to help me get you guys back." Hearing Liren's words, Wu Yan lifted his head and looked at the ceiling. His face was filled with sadness. It's because of the people from Fatal Forest. It's not surprising that Fatal Forest thought that Wu Yan's challenge to all the major powers is a thankless task. In other words, they don't think Wu Yan's chances are very high. When their words reached Liren's ears, it became a matter of Wu Yan being bullied by others. The more he thought about it, the more Wu Yan believed it to be the case. His face turned green, red, purple and white. In the end, all that was left was helplessness. In the past, there were so many special students with so many credits placed in front of me, but I didn't cherish them. It was only until I missed them that I realized that the culprit was actually someone from my own nest. Wu Yan pursed his lips and sighed. He looked at Liren weakly. Then little girl, how did you get to know Princess Sylph? Princess Sylph is the strongest student in Spalier World Academy. She's the princess of the Ailu Empire. With her strength and background, she should be the leader of the Ailu Empire's faction in Spalier World Academy. And how could such an extraordinary person know little Liren? Furthermore, he was able to accept Liren's request? Hinajuku and Mikoto also looked at Liren curiously. How did Liren manage to hook up with such an amazing person? Who knew? Under everyone's gaze, Liren blushed and stuttered. I got lost in the academy and accidentally walked into Sister Sylph's villa. That's how I got to know Sister Sylph. Wu Yan and the other two stumbled and fell to the ground. They didn't know whether to laugh or cry. As expected, Lolas are all heaven-defying existences. Chapter 330. Early in the morning, the door to one of the rooms in the villa slowly opened with a soft sound. Wu Yan walked out of his room and slowly walked down the stairs. As he walked, Wu Yan stretched and yawned. There was even a teardrop at the corner of his eye. It seems like Wu Yan didn't want to wake up this early. As an otaku, even though he's no longer an otaku, Wu Yan hasn't given up on the habit of sleeping in. Can be said that waking up this early can be described as a miracle for Wu Yan. As he slowly walked down the stairs, the living room of the villa appeared in front of Wu Yan. There, Chuju, Mikoto and Ikaros are sitting at a table with breakfast in their hands. Flandra-chan is sitting obediently on a chair with a piece of cake in her mouth. Onii-chan. The first one to notice Wu Yan's appearance is Flandra-chan. Flandra-chan was stunned for a moment before a smile bloomed on her face. She quickly stood up from her chair and shouted loudly before throwing herself at Wu Yan. Seeing Flandra-chan's forelimbs spread out and throwing herself at him, Wu Yan's heart skipped a beat, but he didn't dare delay. His originally lazy footsteps quickened and he reached out to catch Flandra-chan in his arms. Flandra-chan giggled and subconsciously rubbed her face against Wu Yan's chest. What she didn't know is that her mouth is full of cream. Wu Yan was shocked and quickly grabbed Flandra-chan's head to prevent her from being attacked by the cream. Looking at the slightly dissatisfied Flandra-chan, Wu Yan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I say, Flandra-chan, your mouth is full of cream and you're still rubbing your face against my chest. You're so naughty. Flandra-chan touched the corner of her mouth and she giggled bashfully. Wu Yan chuckled and he pinched Flandra-chan's nose lovingly. Then he wiped the corner of her mouth. After helping Flandra-chan tidy up, Wu Yan turned to look at Chuju, Mikoto and Ikaros. What he saw made Wu Yan speechless. He saw Chuju and Mikoto staring at him like they've seen a ghost. Even Ikaros looked a little sluggish. Why are you girls looking at me like that? Being stared at with such weird looks, Wu Yan couldn't help but grumble. Chuju and Mikoto looked at each other and said in surprise. Did you take the wrong medicine? Wu Yan almost choked to death on his own saliva as he shouted out loud. Why did you say that? The two girls rolled their eyes at him. Chuju stood up and walked to Wu Yan's side. She sized up Wu Yan while circling around him. Her beautiful pink hair swayed around Wu Yan's body and a familiar scent wafted into Wu Yan's nose. It's just that at this time Wu Yan wasn't in the mood to taste it. Why are you up so early today? I thought you wouldn't wake up until the sun is high above your head? Wu Yan's mouth twitched and he laughed dryly. Are you exaggerating? Have I never woken up early before? Hinajuku paused and her gem-like eyes stared straight into Wu Yan's wine-red eyes. She expressed her thoughts without saying a word. Wu Yan admitted defeat under Kaisha-sama's stare. If he wasn't carrying Flandra-chan, Wu Yan would have raised his hands and surrendered. Alright, I do have something to do today. I knew it. Chuju huffed and returned to Mikoto's side to continue munching on her breakfast. Mikoto propped one leg on top of her own thigh and crossed her legs. Originally, this action was supposed to ruin her image, but when it was done by Mikoto, it gave people a pleasing feeling. Looking at Wu Yan in confusion, Mikoto asked. Yan, what's the matter that requires you to sacrifice your sleeping time? Wu Yan carried Flandra-chan and sat down in front of the two girls. Ikaros immediately handed over a portion of breakfast and placed it in front of Wu Yan. Wu Yan couldn't help but smile. As if he's rewarding her, he reached out and patted her head. Ikaros couldn't help but squint her eyes. Her indigo pupils were filled with joy. She seems to like Wu Yan's reward. After that, Wu Yan picked up a serving of breakfast. He crushed a bit of it and fed it to Flandra-chan while telling Hinajiku and Mikoto what he had in mind. I heard from Feifei yesterday that the school's weekly auction will be held today. I'd like to go take a look. Auction. Chuju and Mikoto looked at each other. There's a similar expression in their eyes. It's a strange one. Hearing the word auction from Wu Yan's mouth, the two girls couldn't help but recall the auction they attended when they first left Butler Whirlwind's world. The two women didn't forget how torturous the auction was. Therefore, when they heard the words auction, the two women didn't want to go out at all. On the other hand, when Flandra-chan in Wu Yan's arms heard the word auction, her wine-red eyes lit up. It's filled with excitement. The only thing missing is the word, I want to go. Oni-chan, is the auction fun? Flandra-chan tugged at Wu Yan's sleeve, looking at Wu Yan with an expectant gaze. Paired with her delicate face, she's indescribably cute. Resisting the urge to rub her cheeks, Wu Yan bitterly smiled. Flandra-chan, the auction isn't for fun. Then what is it for? It's for buying things, Wu Yan said. Flandra-chan lost interest when she heard that it's not for fun. She said in a disappointed tone. Then Flandra-chan should stay at home and play. Stay at home and play? Wu Yan looked at Flandra-chan in surprise. Is there anything fun at home? Flandra-chan put on a big smile and nodded heavily at the suggestion. Yeah. Lilin-chan, come play with Flandra-chan later. I see. Wu Yan rubbed Flandra-chan's head and looked at Mikoto and Chuju. What about you two? Wanna go? The two girls shook their heads. We'll pass. Wu Yan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It's just an auction, is there a need to make such a big fuss? Chuju and Mikoto realized that they've lost their composure and smiled awkwardly. Mikoto quickly changed the topic. Yan, are you going to the auction because you have something to sell? Wu Yan shook his head and smiled. No, it's the opposite this time. I'm going to bid for something. Hinajiku couldn't help but be surprised. You're interested in otherworldly items too? I thought you were only interested in the items in the system. Wu Yan shrugged. Well, I guess you're right. There's a piece of equipment that I really want, but I don't have enough equipment points. So, I'm thinking of getting some armaments to exchange for equipment points, and at the same time I can increase its power. Increase its power. Wu Yan's explanation obviously confused the two girls. Wu Yan chuckled when he saw their puzzled expressions. He didn't answer them and instead he opened up the system list and clicked on the equipment option. He dragged it out for a bit. Soon a piece of special equipment appeared in front of the two girls. Gate of Babylon. Unique equipment. A sword in the shape of a T that connects to the Golden City. Able to connect to a treasure vault with its own space, the Golden City. Able to freely take out or store items from the Gate of Babylon. Also able to use the equipment in the Gate of Babylon like bullets for shooting and battle. The stronger the equipment in the Gate of Babylon, the more types of equipment, the higher the level of the Gate of Babylon, and the more powerful it is. Note, starting level is D rank, maximum level is A rank. 500,000 equipment points. Chapter 331. Silveria World Institute's auction is only held once a week. Every time it's held, the items up for auction would be extremely rare items such as rare armaments, battle techniques and spells for Tier 7 warriors and mages, or even items that can be used to aid in cultivation. Due to the special nature of the Spalier World Academy, the resources transported from all over the Spalier world would appear at the auction every week. It could be said that the Spalier World Academy's auction was definitely one of the largest in the world. This wasn't surprising. If it wasn't for this kind of auction, it wouldn't have been able to attract the young masters and young ladies from the various factions. Therefore, on this day of the week, which was also the day of the auction, the popularity of the Arena Tower, the Trading District and the Trading District, which were supposed to be the most popular places among the students, would decrease a lot. This was because the students would flock to the auction house. Therefore, on the way to the auction house, Wu Yan felt that the people around him were getting denser and denser. According to the information on the map, Wu Yan arrived at the auction house. When Wu Yan saw the auction house, Wu Yan couldn't help but feel a little shocked. This auction house was a little too big. Wu Yan estimated that the auction house in front of him was at least 10 times bigger than the one in the supply town. It was inconceivably big. However, after thinking about it carefully, he felt that it was only natural. After all, the Spalier World Academy had a total of 10 million students. Well, although most of the students didn't have enough credits because they weren't doing well, they wouldn't come to the auction house. However, at the very least, the people from the 9 great powers wouldn't be lacking in credits. While Wu Yan was paying attention to the auction house in front of him, the students around him were paying attention to him. They were all looking at Wu Yan with faces full of surprise. Look, it's that newcomer. You still call him a newcomer? He's a powerhouse in the top 25. He even tied with the leader of the Sea of Icicles, who's ranked 9. That's right. If things had continued that day, he might have been the final winner. At the very least, he can be ranked in the top 10. I really don't know which force will benefit from such an expert in the end. That's right. If any force can get a top 10 ranker, then they'll really be rich. As the discussion progressed, the voices of the surrounding students grew louder and louder. In the end, even Wu Yan, who was paying attention to the construction of the auction house, could hear them. Wu Yan couldn't help but frown when he heard the noise. After hearing a part of it, Wu Yan felt helpless. Great, now he's really famous. However, it was too noisy. Looking at the auction house not far away, Wu Yan suddenly swayed. Under everyone's astonished gazes, his body gradually blurred until it disappeared. His body turned into an afterimage. Wu Yan used all kinds of unimaginable postures to force his way through the dense crowd and arrived at the entrance of the auction house. This also allowed Wu Yan to discover another use of the infinite martial refinement. It's just that it's a little speechless. Just as Wu Yan was about to walk into the auction house, a familiar voice rang out. Yan, you're here. Lulu appeared out of nowhere and arrived in front of Wu Yan. Her eyes were squinted into crescents, seemingly happy. Behind Lulu, Feifei led a group of Fatal Forest students over. As she walked, she waved the night elf in her hand at Wu Yan, greeting Wu Yan. Wu Yan smiled and looked at Lulu and Feifei. He then looked at the large group of supporters behind the two girls and said with amusement, Yo, as expected of people with status and status. This show of extravagance. Lulu couldn't help but roll her eyes. Her small hand fiercely slapped Wu Yan and pouted in dissatisfaction. Feifei shook her head and jokingly said, If you like, I can let you have fun. No need, no need. Wu Yan hurriedly shook his head. If you really let me have this show of extravagance, your supporters will tear me to pieces. Feifei immediately retorted after hearing Wu Yan's words. Tear you to pieces? Our deadly forest doesn't have that kind of ability. You're ranked 25th and you're even able to tie with the ice spirit. Who else can do that? Wu Yan immediately laughed embarrassedly. Lulu used her foot to pick up a small rock on the ground and unwillingly pulled on Wu Yan's sleeve. She pitifully wiped away the tears in her eyes. You're really annoying. When we first met, you were still a weak barbarian. Now you've become so much stronger than me. Tell me, did you eat some kind of drug that turned you into a Superman? Wu Yan sweated when he heard Lulu's words. Feifei covered her mouth and chuckled. At this time, the three of them looked like friends who had been together for many years. They were happily chatting. Of course, while Wu Yan was happy, Feifei and Lulu were happy, there were some people who were unhappy. These people were naturally the people from Fatal Forest. The female students were fine. They were all looking at the three of them enviously. They didn't know when they would be able to join the world of people at that level. The male students, on the other hand, were all envious and jealous. Their faces were twisted into one word, and that was jealousy. Girls like Feifei and Lulu who had extraordinary looks and a powerful background. Which man wouldn't be tempted? The males in Fatal Forest even treated Feifei and Lulu as their goddesses. Now their goddesses were talking and laughing with another man. Their intimacy level was off the charts in front of them. If this wasn't the time to be jealous, when would it be? Of course, jealousy was considered good in Fatal Forest. There was one person who had resentment written all over his face. His eyes were fixed on Wu Yan and he was almost on the verge of bursting into flames. This person was none other than Hughes. When he thought about how the commoner that he had looked down on had not only defeated him and won the favor of Feifei and Lulu, but also became a super celebrity in the Spalier World Academy in the blink of an eye, Hughes had the urge to kill someone. However, no matter how much resentment he had or how much he struggled, he would never be able to catch Wu Yan's attention. While Wu Yan was chatting with Lulu and Feifei on the other side of the crowd, the students suddenly parted to the side and opened up a path. This attracted the attention of Wu Yan and the others. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Bing Ling and Bing Mian led the people from sea of dense ice out of the crowd and arrived at the entrance of the auction house. Bing Ling and Bing Mian also noticed Wu Yan, Feifei and Lulu. Bing Ling nodded at Wu Yan and the others as a form of greeting before walking into the auction house. After all, his relationship with Wu Yan wasn't exactly friendly. As for Bing Mian, he was in a much worse state. When he saw Wu Yan, his eyes turned cold and gloomy. After all, not only was he publicly slapped by Wu Yan that day in the arena, his ranking was also taken away from him. He had to put in a lot of effort before he was able to get his ranking back from a challenge. However, he was only ranked 28th this time. Bing Mian glared at Wu Yan and clicked his tongue before walking into the auction house. If one looked closely, they would notice that Bing Mian's face was a little pale and his steps were a little weak. Lulu couldn't help but make a face at Bing Mian. That guy is still so annoying. Feifei nodded thoughtfully. Bing Mian is a very narrow-minded person. You humiliated him in front of everyone that day. I wonder if he's plotting something. Wu Yan smiled casually. His wine-red eyes turned slightly and a golden light flashed and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Chapter 332. After entering the auction house, Wu Yan realized that it was much more spacious than it looked from the outside. Unlike the auction house in the supply town, which had more and more seats, the Spalier World Academy's auction house was more like a stage. At the very front, there was a tall platform with a small table and wooden mallet that were used exclusively by auction houses. Opposite the platform there were rows of seats. On the high walls on both sides, there were also seats that looked like VIPs. They were placed on the platform and hung there like balconies. Of course, the balcony seats on both sides of the high wall weren't VIP seats. The Spalier World Academy doesn't do that either. There were a total of 100 seats for the people who were ranked. Wu Yan, who was ranked 25th, was also qualified to use those seats. However, Wu Yan and Feifei didn't want to go up there. It's not that they didn't want to get special treatment, it's just that Lulu was still here. Lulu pulled Feifei and Wu Yan's sleeves with a pitiful look. Wu Yan and Feifei couldn't make up their minds to go up there and enjoy the seats. In the end, they could only follow the people from Deadly Forest and sit in the lower seats. Of course, even though the feng shui of the seats wasn't as good as the ones above, it wasn't bad either. Deadly Forest's name was quite famous in the Spalier World Academy. Therefore Wu Yan, Feifei, and Lulu still managed to get to the front of the feng shui seats. On the left was Lulu and on the right was Feifei. Wu Yan sat in the middle under everyone's envious, jealous and hateful gazes. His expression was indescribably calm. If one were to describe their gazes of envy and jealousy as sharp arrows, then Wu Yan's skin would have been tempered by these arrows to the point that his bones would be as tough as steel. Compared to the girls of Tokuwadai who have turned black, he's just too weak. After an unknown amount of time, Wu Yan, Feifei, and Lulu chatted until the auction finally started. For some reason, the auctioneers in the Spalier world were always old men with white hair and a face full of wrinkles, not cute girls. However, the scale of the Spalier World Academy's auction was incomparable to the one in the supply town. It was just the beginning, but one treasure after another appeared in front of Wu Yan, leaving Wu Yan dumbfounded. For example, the rank 7 combat technique that was supposed to be the finale in the supply town was put up for auction right from the start. What made him speechless was that other than the normal and elite students, no one else participated in the bidding for the rank 7 combat technique. Another example would be the Volkswagen armaments that Wu Yan auctioned off as the finale item. Here, one after another, the staff in charge of setting up the items are casually tossing them onto the stage. Wu Yan couldn't bear to watch this any longer. Looking at the Volkswagen armament on the stage that was auctioned for 5,000 credits, Wu Yan glanced at the number 280,000 on his record card and calmly called out 10,000. Following Wu Yan's voice, the auction house that was getting rowdy due to the constant bidding suddenly quieted down. Not a single person dared to make a sound. Wu Yan was a little surprised. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What's going on? Perhaps seeing Wu Yan's confusion, Fei Fei smiled and said, "You are now a big celebrity in the academy. You have the strength to rank in the top 10. No one would risk offending you for a Volkswagen armament." When Fei Fei said that, Wu Yan understood. However, he still didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Well, the result was pretty good anyway. On the other side, Bing Mian slowly sat down at the seats reserved for the powerhouses. He looked at his elder brother who had stopped him when he was about to call out a price. Bing Mian grumbled in dissatisfaction. "That's right. Brother, why did you stop me?" Hearing this, the ice spirit snorted coldly and said rudely, "Are you stupid? Even if you have a grudge against Wu Yan, don't you think it's too low class to do something like that for a Volkswagen armament?" Bing Mian said unhappily, "Why not? With my credits compared to that upstart, it's more than enough." Bing Ling couldn't help but laugh coldly. "Then they'll find a chance to slap you twice. The next day, the entire Silveria World Institute will be talking about how you, the second leader of the Sea of Icicles, got slapped for offending someone because of a common armament," Bing Ling said in a disappointed tone. Bing Mian was stunned and his face turned red. Bing Ling sighed and looked at Wu Yan. He said to Bing Mian, "If you don't like it, work hard and improve your strength. Go to the arena and get your revenge. Don't play dirty tricks all the time. You won't be able to achieve anything if you do that." Bing Mian trembled as he said, "Understood." Bing Mian was still very afraid of his big brother. As for whether Bing Mian listened to Bing Ling's words, only Bing Mian himself would know. With the passage of time, one item after another was brought up to the stage by the staff. Then they were taken away by the students one by one. Wu Yan managed to get quite a number of armaments as well. However, they are all common-grade armaments. Still, they are cheap, right? Spending a total of 100k credits, Wu Yan bought close to 20 mass armaments. Whenever an armament appears, Wu Yan would immediately bid on it, causing everyone to be puzzled. It was strange, wasn't it? He was clearly a peak rank 7 powerhouse and his strength could be ranked in the top 10 of the school. If such a person wanted to bid, he would at least bid for the rare armaments, right? To the point that for some of the absolute powerhouses of the 7th level, competing for a gold armament was something that was absolutely possible. However, Wu Yan kept buying Volkswagen armaments. If it was 1 or 2, it could be pardoned. If it was 3 or 4, it could be explained. However, if it was 10 or 20, it was a little strange. At this moment, Wu Yan once again became the target of everyone's attention. Everyone looked at Wu Yan with doubtful, puzzled or mocking gazes. However, they all looked like they didn't know what's going on. Even Fei Fei and Lulu weren't spared. Lulu couldn't help but feel puzzled. She elbowed Wu Yan and whispered, "Yan, why are you buying so many Volkswagen armaments? Don't tell me." Lulu revealed a shocked expression. She said in disbelief, "You formed an army to conquer Ailu Empire. Are you replenishing your troops now?" Wu Yan's hands trembled and his legs gave way. He almost fell to the ground. If it wasn't for the fact that he was sitting in his seat, Wu Yan would have died in front of everyone. Wu Yan lightly sighed and knocked Lulu's head. Lulu clutched her head. Wu Yan rolled his eyes at Lulu and said, "I really don't know what's in that head of yours. You can even think of such a reason." Lulu rubbed her head with tears in her eyes. She said timidly, "Then why are you buying so many Volkswagen armaments?" Fei Fei also revealed a curious expression. She looked at Wu Yan. Fei Fei thought she knew Wu Yan better than anyone else. She knew Wu Yan must have a reason for doing so. It's just that she couldn't figure it out. Wu Yan looked at the two women's different but similar expressions. He smiled and looked at another Volkswagen armament on the stage. He rubbed his chin and pretended to be serious. Maybe he's really collecting Volkswagen armaments to conquer Ailu Empire? Fei Fei and Lulu rolled their eyes at Wu Yan. Wu Yan laughed out loud. Chapter 333. As time passed, the atmosphere of the auction gradually reached its peak. One by one, the auction items were auctioned off. Towards the end, the quality of the auctioned items got higher and higher. At this time, the common armaments had already been auctioned off. Some of the more precious items were also placed on the table. Most of the people who participated in the auction at the beginning were ordinary and elite students. After all, a certain level of strength would be matched with certain items. Following the appearance of some rare treasures, these ordinary and elite students were completely reduced to spectators, with the exception of a few rich young masters. Of course, the appearance of the rare items was accompanied by armaments. When the rare armament was put on the table, Wu Yan's spirit was lifted. If the common armaments were used to exchange points for the system, then the rare armament would be used by Wu Yan to replenish his Gate of Babylon. Anyone who had seen Fate would know how powerful Kaibao of Wang was. It had almost become Gilgamesh's signature. With Kaibao of Wang, Gilgamesh was able to become the best of the best among the heroic spirits. If it wasn't for the Gate of Babylon with Gilgamesh's ability points, he would only be a second-rate heroic spirit. At most he would be able to use his EA and use his ultimate skills. That's it, of course, that was because there were so many noble artifacts in the Gate of Babylon for him to use. If the Gate of Babylon was empty, then this awesome noble artifact would be useless. At most it could be used as an infinitely large spatial item. Wu Yan was facing such a situation. Gate of Babylon. Unique equipment. A sword in the shape of a T that connects to the Golden City. It can be connected to a treasure vault that has its own space, which is the Golden City. It can be used to take out or store items from the treasure vault. It can also be used to shoot and fight like bullets. The stronger the equipment in the Gate of Babylon is, the more powerful the Gate of Babylon is. The stronger the equipment in the Gate of Babylon is, the more powerful the Gate of Babylon is. Note, the starting level is rank D, the highest level it can reach. 500,000 equipment points. In the equipment interface, the introduction of the Gate of Babylon was very clear. The stronger the equipment in the Gate of Babylon, the more types there were, the higher the level of the Gate of Babylon, and the more powerful it would be. Without the equipment, the Gate of Babylon would at most be a D-rank equipment. When Wu Yan chose the Gate of Babylon, he hesitated. If he chose the Gate of Babylon, it would mean that he would have to start raising a big boss. He would have to rack his brains every day to obtain armaments and equipment to increase the power of the Gate of Babylon. Otherwise, a special equipment would have to be left unused. However, when Wu Yan saw the number of zeros behind the legendary armament Wu Yan, he decided to exchange for the Gate of Babylon. At least it would be more practical to replenish the equipment of the Gate of Babylon than to earn so many equipment points. Even though it would take a lot of time and money to upgrade the Gate of Babylon to the level of Golden Sparkle in the original Fate book, it would take some time and money. Indeed, it would take a lot of money. Wu Yan's wine-red eyes stared at the rare armament on the stage. He heard the auctioneer say, 45,000 going once, 45,000 going twice. The corner of his mouth twitched. He had no choice but to bid 50,000. Only then did he win the rare armament. The number on the record card in his hand has changed from 280,000 half an hour ago to 130,000 now. Wu Yan couldn't help but feel emotional. He thought he was already considered a tycoon. Who would have thought that he would be able to accept reality in half an hour? This made Wu Yan very sad. When Wu Yan accidentally glanced at the record card in Feifei's hand that showed 1000000, Wu Yan's heart skipped a beat. He felt even sadder. Of course, Wu Yan's credits aren't small either. At the very least, he squandered 150,000 credits. In the eyes of the normal, elite and most of the special students, he's already a tycoon. It's just that, compared to Lulu and Feifei who came from big factions, he can't compare to them. Plus, no matter how many credits he has, if he squanders like this, it's only a matter of time before he runs out of credits. Fortunately, rare armaments were only considered to be of a higher grade in the Spalier World Academy, where the resources from all over the Spalier world were gathered. Moreover, there were countless descendants of powerful families and super geniuses in the Spalier World Academy. Otherwise, with Wu Yan's credits, this rare armament would have been his limit. In the Spalier World Academy, there were no less than 1,000 special students. Among them, less than 100 were special students with potential. The rest were all strong. They were all Tier 7. As for the Tier 7 special students, which one of them didn't have a rare armament? As a result, the value of rare armaments in the Spalier World Academy decreased by a lot. If it appeared outside of the Spalier World Academy, it would be sold at a sky-high price in a city. Therefore, in the Spalier World Academy, expensive things became cheap, cheap things became expensive, and even more expensive things became unimaginable. This kind of situation appeared very quickly. When Wu Yan used his last 130,000 credits to bid for the 2 rare armaments, the staff members who were moving the auction items all disappeared. There were no more auction items. Just like before, they were placed on the stage one after another. Instead, a white-haired old man walked out from behind the curtain. In his hand he was holding a box. On the side, Fei and Lulu's eyes suddenly lit up. Looking at the box in the old man's hand, their expressions became serious. Even their backs straightened a lot. It was as if something incredible was about to appear. Not only Fei and Lulu, but Wu Yan also sensed that many people in the auction house were shocked when they saw the box in the old man's hand. They were all ready to go. Their bodies were tense and they didn't even dare to say a word. And this group of people, like Fei and Lulu, were all people of great power in the Spalier World Academy. Following the appearance of the box, the air was filled with the aura of a coming storm. Many people's faces were filled with eagerness and impatience. Their eyes were filled with greed as they looked at the box. Seeing this situation, Wu Yan couldn't help but frown. Looking at Fei and Lulu, who were also like this, his frown deepened. His eyebrows even raised. He was extremely surprised. At that moment, Wu Yan couldn't help but ask, Fei, Lulu, what's wrong with you two? After saying that, Wu Yan looked at the box in the old man's hand and asked with a little doubt, is there something strange about that box? Hearing Wu Yan's words, Fei smiled and said solemnly, of course there's nothing wrong with that box. The problem is the thing inside the box. The thing inside the box. That's right. Fei nodded and exchanged glances with Lulu. Then she looked around at the people in the auction house, especially those in the special seats on both sides. Fei's gaze stopped on them for a while. Then she said word by word, the thing inside the box should be the final item of this auction. It's also the main reason why we're here today. Hearing this, Wu Yan's wine-red eyes looked at the box that had been placed on the stage. However, what Fei said next made his eyes shrink. That's a gold armament. You're tuning in to the Zhou Xian's Legacy YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.